Hello, and welcome to Nice and Blunt. I'm Adam Riancho, your host. It's Saturday, July 18th, 1:30 p.m., and we're here to draft some best ball teams and trying to sneak it in early before we got a bunch of snipers in the lobby. So we're going to hop into this PPR Frenchie. I think until this contest fills, I'm pretty interested in it. Only 10K up top, so I can understand if it's maybe not the most compelling. The Pug we might do later today. I'll save one of those. And then otherwise, there's just the typical fast puppy for 200K up top. So I think we'll do one of those three first, and then we will hit all three today. I'm planning on 3 drafts this afternoon. But let's bring in the chat real quick. We got your soothing sound in the house. Good evening to you. Is it the evening already? Even on the East Coast, it's still only 4:30. Technically, it's good afternoon, but I'm not going to be a stickler. Good evening, sir. Good evening to you as well. For me, it's only 1:30 in the afternoon, so I guess that's where it's tripping me up. But all right, we'll do the fast puppy first. Actually no. I'll save that one. We only have a few viewers at the moment. If you want to join a pug with me, I think that's what we're gonna do first. I think we're gonna do the pug first. Excellent advanced structure. 2 out of 12. 1 out of 5. 1 out of 5. 124 people in the final, and then 40K up top. Yeah, let's do the pug first. So, what's up, A-Rod? Foreign Barber. Yes, you can join. I'll count it down in just a bit. Apologies, stoned right now. Good afternoon. No worries, man. No worries. Just giving you a hard time. But if anything, we're just having fun. All right, we're going to enter the pug in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Looks like there was a minor ad break real quick. But 3 spots left. If you want one of those spots, come on down. Come and get it. But A-Rod filled the pug already here for moral support. Appreciate that, A-Rod. Always good luck when you're in this lobby with us. But for one of us, at least, you know, one of us usually has an excellent team. If not both of us, I sometimes fuck up. There's teams where I really feel good about it after the draft is over, and then other times where I'm like, damn, I missed some opportunities. But here we go. Pick 1. Very excited to pull the 101. Love that. Love that for me. So we're going to get Gibbs on this team. And I'm actually curious to see how many other drafts I've done in this pug. I think I did one with Huhames. I believe my only other pug is with Huhames. And I have one more left. So we'll have time to fill it. Let me check my exposures. In the pug. That team was from pick 6. Okay, going to be a much different team. All right. No concern. If I already had a Gibbs team, I might just take a Bijan chair. But I'll go Gibbs. I'll trust Gibbs. We get the 101. That's really the only way you can get Gibbs at this point. Not going to overthink it. Just take what the doctor orders. Our luck drew us pick 1. We are sticking with Jahmyr Gibbs. But yeah, Foreign Barber, I see you in here. Definitely, if you are Daddy Chili, that's pick 5. You make a strong chili, I imagine. Anytime someone references chili at this point, I just remember Kevin Malone bringing in his world famous chili and spilling it all over the office floor. That's where my mind goes instantly anytime I hear the word chili. But welcome. Good luck. You got pick 5. Not the easiest spot to be in. Super Beast, our boy Keith, drew pick 4. He has Puka Nakua. Melon Ball is in here. I think we drafted with Melon Ball the other day. So maybe you're watching. I'm not sure. If you are, let me know. But M Scoop 16 is in this one as well. He took Jamar Chase. Dirty Birds 1121 goes Taylor at pick 6. B Dorand 523 took CMC. Brazitas takes Amon Ra. And now RB1 is on the clock, followed by Mr. GAV Spider. 2Y Banana. Okay, we're drafting with Gruden. at the 111, and then Big Head Gill pulling up the caboose with pick 12. Good luck, everyone. Good luck. M. Stockton, how common do you think a Gibbs Henry start is in BBM? I got it this morning. Damn. Really? That's impressive. That's pretty fire. That's sweet. Okay, I'm realizing the chat is covering the board, so I need to adjust how we are displaying everything. Let me get this in the right spot. No, that was zoomed in too much. We're gonna stick with this. And then that can be wider. Yeah, that looks pretty good. There it is. There we go. The chat, I think I zoomed in a little bit earlier. There we go. We'll put that right here. Okay, we got our bearings all set. But aloha, Air Jeff. Always nice to see you. We got both thumb and pinky. Always important. Foreign barber, make a mean chili. I make a mean chili. Have you ever tried Tommy Boy's? Or no, it's not Tommy Boy. That's a movie that is excellent with Chris Farley and David Spade. But have you ever been in the LA area? I'm not quite sure how far it expands beyond Los Angeles, but it was born and raised in LA. Tommy's Burgers. That's what it's called. Tommy's Burgers. You ever been to Tommy's here in LA? Chili burger is pretty good when you're drunk, or they're open 24 hours typically, or at least they're open really late. Maybe things have changed since COVID, but excellent LA experience. Maybe not the best you've ever had, but definitely something you got to try. If you're coming through LA, a part of the culture that maybe gets a little overshadowed by like In-N-Out or something, but it's a little bit more like true to like, if you grew up in LA, you've definitely had Tommy's before. But what's up, Zero? Let's blaze it. You know what? I mixed up some of the graphics at the top. We actually have yet to blaze it, but this is a very interesting draft so far. People are going out and getting their guys. We'll recap the first two rounds after these two picks, but whenever I have the 101, I'm trying to grab a double receiver strategy here. And unfortunately, I'm going to be stuck with Devontae if that's the move. I'm not too worried about getting unique or anything. It's just I want to make the right pick. I have Chris Olave ranked above Devontae Smith. I really do. I trust him a lot. The bring back would be pulling up like Luther Burden. I'm not going to do that. So either go running back or stick with the receiver. I'm going to stick with the receiver. I'm going to go Chris Olave. One of the players I really trust at wideout in the third round. As long as he doesn't miss time with that blood clot issue, Chris Olave feels like a smash. One of only 7 players in the NFL last year to catch 100 receptions. And before last week, I didn't know that. 2 weeks ago, I did not know that. But I missed the question in Best Ball Jeopardy. Chris Olave was the last player in that category. He caught exactly 100 receptions. The Kellen Moore system has produced very productive receivers last few years. I trust it. No doubt about it. But let's blaze it. Let's do it. We got a blunt emoji. We should. All right. What's up, Anthony? How we doing? Best Ball on call. Rocket ship to the moon. Anthony's awesome. Friend of the channel. For a long-time viewer as well. Has a channel of his own, but haven't seen him active for a minute. We miss you, Best Ball on call. Sweet Leaf's in here. You know it. Make sure you show support and hit the like button. Says your soothing sound. I really appreciate that. It's easy to be stoned and forget sometimes. It happens to the best of us. Appreciate that reminder. Very thankful for your comment there. But Disbanded checking in with his typical dot. Nice to see you, DB. You're getting better at the Shaka, brah. Yeah, the Shaka. Trying to get it to stay in frame when it's cropped like this. Sometimes not ideal. But I loved when I was in Hawaii for a very brief time. Even on like the buses, there's like a a Shaka Bra sign on the buses as like thanks for letting me into the lane. Like it's pretty chill. Definitely appropriate over there. But Good Burger. Great movie. Tommy want Wingy? I'm not sure what Wingy is, but yeah, there's Good Burger, and then whenever I see this, at least seeing it right now, it makes me think of like Good Kahuna Burger, Big Kahuna Burger from Pulp Fiction, which doesn't exist, or at least since I've been alive hasn't existed. Maybe it was there in the 90s, but I don't recall ever having a Big Kahuna Burger. But Good Burger, damn, Keenan Thompson fucking still living off of that shit. Keenan Thompson made out huge off of something like Good Burger. But happy weekend, Jamie. Nice to see you. Your brother lives in Long Beach. Nice. Long Beach is pretty chill. A little bit out of the way for where I live in the city, but they got the aquarium down there. That's also nice. But blaze it, you know it. Zero, I don't know, but I have 2 BBMs with Jamar Chase and Derrick Henry, which feels fun. That's pretty sweet. Yeah. Anytime Derrick Henry falls to you when you have Puka, Chase, or maybe even a top 2 pick, it's pretty lit. Long gone are the days where it's expected. Rarely happens. In this lobby, Derrick Henry went at pick 12. Derrick Henry went very early. That team took Henry and Ken Walker at the turn. They also went Scatabo and David Montgomery. Very interesting team on the other side here. But I think I'll take Loveland. We get the bring back with Gibbs. And I think I'll also tack on a Devontae Adams. I'm definitely going to take Loveland. I'll grab the elite tight end in this lobby. I think I feel pretty good about that. And then a guy that's just money in the bank. It's really just an injury concern. Adams is going to score 12 plus touchdowns. That's pretty much a lock. They didn't change anything in the passing game other than draft Max Clare in LA. Their defense got better, but Adams is locked in for a shit ton of touchdowns. So I'll take Adams. I do prefer Adams over Mike Evans. I know a lot of people like Evans well above ADP. He fell here to pick 50. I passed on him twice. And I'm sure some people are like, why would you do that? But I'm more convinced that Mike Evans will miss time than Devontae Adams. And they're both going to be good. They're both going to be scoring touchdowns. You might get some more yards out of Mike Evans. That's definitely possible. But I have more worry about the Niners' schedule. The Niners and Rams both play in Australia week 1, but the Niners also play in Mexico City like week 11. The Niners have a terrible travel schedule. Their matchups are also a gauntlet as well. And Adams is going to draw significantly easier coverage compared to Evans, because Evans is going to draw like the toughest corner every single week. They're more likely to cover him than Ricky Pearsall. Meanwhile, Devontae is going to be coasting a little bit because all the attention's on Puka half the time. But Adams, I just think I trust the quarterback a little bit more to get him 12 plus touchdowns. Like if Evans scores 12 touchdowns, I think that's kind of like best case scenario probably for Mike Evans. Not that he can't do it, but I wouldn't really expect like 15. Adams scored 14 last year in like 13 games or something. Like I don't really see that changing. So I do rank Adams over Mike Evans. But time to blaze it. Pretty much always time to blaze it. Uh, let me. Damn. The chat sometimes just freaking freezes on me. But okay, we're back. Love Tommy's Burgers. I was born and raised in L.A. Yo, that's awesome, Jeff. A fellow Angelino. LA's massive though. There's so many different parts of LA. It's a wide ranging experience, but love to hear it. Tommy's is like very nostalgic for me. Love their fries. I used to live in Newport Beach and worked in Hollywood's his powered one. I used to party at Super Club a lot back then. I'm an San Diego guy though. Dope. San Diego's pretty chill. Very chill over there. I went to the University of San Diego for 1 year. Out in the whale's vagina. But Air Jeff, is this PPR? No, we're in the pug right now. We're drafting in the pug, and this is regular. But I'm sure Team 11 might make you question that. Damn, Team 11 going strict 6 straight receivers. That's gonna put an interesting premium on the position. Quentin Johnston also went and picked 60 in this one. Holy shit. That's very, very interesting. That's kind of wild. But what's up, Wilson? Appreciate it. Yeah, the haircut, I think this one was a good one. If you're going to microdose, damn, good for you, Disbanded. Have a good time. But the Tommy Boy reference, Callahan Auto. You know, I could get a good look at the cow's T-bone if I stuck my head up its ass, but I'd rather take the butcher's word for it. We got a little afternoon delight for Sweet Leaf Sativa. I'm more of an indica bro, but to each their own. Anything weed related is usually pretty good, but I have not seen the sequel, Jamie. I've not seen the sequel to Good Burger. But Austin, I'm very interested in starting my own live drafting, just like you and my other YouTube channel. Used to do gaming commentary and a little bit of movie reviews on my other channels years ago. Love to hear that, Austin. If you're excited in doing that, I definitely recommend you try it out. And don't be discouraged if it doesn't start off immediately. It's really just about getting in reps and just doing what you love. And naturally, that will bring more views. So I highly support anyone that wants to try and do this on YouTube. It's worth trying out if you are so inclined. But okay, this is very interesting. Jaden Daniels goes, I'm gonna take Drake May, even unstacked. I don't give a shit. Love the Drake May selection here. Backstacks galore. But with that in mind, I think I'll just take Ramondre. I could take Caleb and get the double QB, but I'm a little bit worried about our running back options in the next round. But, am I really that concerned, or should I just capitalize on it and then just stop there? You know what? Yeah, I'm going to push running back. Fuck it. We got Gibbs. I'm not going to draft scared. I'm going to have 2 elite quarterbacks. This lobby, let both of them fall. For Drake May to be here is pretty crazy. Caleb, though, does stack up with Loveland, and we do get the bring back against the Lions, Week 17. Meanwhile, Drake May is against the Broncos, Week 17. Who knows? Maybe that's not the matchup you want as much. But Drake May does get the Jets in Week 16, so Drake May could easily be the QB1 that helps you arrive to Week 17. I do think Drake May is going to be a very key advance piece, Week 16. But no stack for him. I don't care. There's some back stacks available, and we will be just fine without it. Just taking the value. Drake May should not be falling this far. You're telling me you swap Quentin Johnston and Drake May in the ADP? That's pretty crazy. That Marvin Harrison also went at pick 62. That's pretty wild. Spider 2 Banana putting a weird stranglehold on this draft. But me and Daddy Chili pick 5. Also going double elite QB. He has Lamar and Burrow. I have Drake May and Caleb. And this will be an interesting lobby because of some of those quarterback decisions. This is a fun team. So far, I'm curious to see what happens with running back. But true anchor with Jahmyr Gibbs. we're sending it. And the receiver room looks great. The quarterback room looks excellent. We got Loveland, the elite tight end. So this team's interesting. But yeah, at 12, we also have a very different strategy. Boy, this will be an interesting team review. If anything, I kind of want to do a team review for like every single one in this lobby. But yo, what's up, Hartman? Good to see you. Thanks for popping in. If anyone hasn't checked out Hartman FF, friend of the channel, excellent live streamer and sharp drafter all the time. Some good teams drafted on Hartman's account. Check him out if you haven't done so. Give him a follow on his YouTube channel. But Austin says, maybe if I get enough viewers and traction, we could work together. I got a lot of ideas, honestly, in the grand scheme of things. Get established, man. Get your feet wet. And just like everyone in this community, everyone's a pretty awesome person. And we all kind of, seems like we're all trying to work together on building up this stuff together. So yeah, get your feet wet, bro. And if you're interested in hosting me on the channel, let me know. I'll try to make some time. As we get closer to the season, though, August, my schedule ramps up quickly. So I'll recommend doing that sooner rather than later, at least for my schedule. But Air Jeff, Team 11 needs to trade with Team 12. I know, Team 11 and Team 12 bouncing off each other, but some bold takes there. Scatabo and David Montgomery over Javonte and Jacobs. I love the Scatabo pull, but Montgomery, that one's interesting. But okay. I don't quite remember that line specifically, but that movie has so many quotable lines. That movie is really, really rewatchable and just hits on so many different levels. Love it. But we're in the pug, Zero. We're in the pug. But what's up, Uzi Goated? How you doing? Nice to see you. Jamie says, did you see Underdog now has full PPR drafts? Yeah, we'll do one of those probably next. You know what? I'll drop a poll. Let's see what you guys want for our next draft. We can do the PPR or the fast puppy. Both of them are $5. But I'll see what you guys want. Okay, I really need some running backs. I could go with Manungai, but I think I want to kind of just double tap the position. I'm going to take Kenny Gainwell with one of these picks. Absolutely. I'm going to take Kenny Gainwell with one of these picks. The question is, do I take Manungai or do I grab a receiver that I really trust, really feel good with in Ricky Pearsall? I think I'm actually going to go with Ricky Pearsall. We're pushing running back. I might really regret it, but I've been starting to think that Ricky Pearsall might be one of the best picks on the board. The more I really think about it, I don't think, at the very least, the gap between Evans at pick 50 and Ricky Pearsall essentially at pick 100 is pretty crazy. Pearsall's slowly been moving up the board, but especially with Pittman already off the board, there are very few players I think can replicate the upside of Ricky Pearsall paired with his role in the offense. Definitely the locked-in number 2 wideout. In the Shanahan system, we've always drafted Niners receivers high, and it's really just injury concerns why you don't feel great about it. But Ricky Pearsall was playing phenomenally well when healthy. In his first 3 games, he had 2 with over 95 yards. He had 1 with 100 plus. I believe it was like 117. And then he got injured in week 4. He missed a bunch of time, longer than expected. When he came back to the field, he was ass. And then I believe they had the late bye week, and he played 2 more games after that in the regular season. In those 2 games, he had at least 85 yards in both of them. However, he did not score a single touchdown on the year. If he had dropped a touchdown, then maybe you could look at his game log and say like, oh yeah, there's an 18-pointer here. I'm excited about that. But there's like a bunch of 11 and 12-point games without any touchdowns. That's pretty sweet. So moving off of Jawan Jennings, that's 9 touchdowns for him last year. That's going to be moving elsewhere. And Evans, I think, is a pretty safe bet to miss some time. Kittle, we already know, is banged up. And how much do you trust DeJohn Stribling? I don't. How much do you trust Christian Kirk? Maybe a little bit, but not much. Not enough to threaten Ricky Pearsall. A first round pick entering year 3, and that's often the breakouts we want to bet on. Last year's major breakout was JSN, year 3 first round pick. So I love Ricky Pearsall. The more I think about it, I think he's an excellent pick. I think you could take him over DK Metcalf, over Parker Washington, over Mekhi Lemon, maybe even over Marvin Harrison, and it would be totally fine in my point. Like, Quentin Johnston went pick 60. Who's to say that Ricky Pearsall can't be as good as Quentin Johnston? I could easily see that. But do you know what Shanahan will do with a talent like Evans' brother? He will probably run him into the ground. That's probably what's going to happen. Like every other player in the Shanahan system, you're getting run into the ground and you're going to get injured repeatedly. That's typically what happens. A-Rod says both Adams and Evans will have hamstring concerns, so taking the one whose routes are shorter and less likely to tweak a hammy is the right move, according to A-Rod. Injuries, though, are unpredictable. They seem inevitable, though, in San Fran. Team 11 ruining this draft, says Air Jeff. Can't stand that. You know what? You just have to be balanced out in a way to take advantage of it. A team like mine is kind of taking advantage of it, having 3 strong receivers and maximizing the quarterback value. My running back room is weird, though. We'll see what happens at running back with my team. But Zero, I went back and checked just for fun, but Adams literally faced a tougher corner matchup in majority of their games last year compared to Puka. Interesting. I wouldn't have assumed that, but I suppose it kind of checks out. I can believe that. It's not what I would have expected, but I can believe that. I know Evans, though, is definitely getting the tougher matchups, but that's kind of shocking. You would think that Puka would draw tougher coverage, but I guess they kind of attack him with multiple players, not just one. But, yo, what's up, Danimal? How we doing? I'm doing well. How we doing, Mr. Mufasa? Nice to see you as well. All right, here we go. I think we got Mason to circle back. Yeah, Jordan Mason's still here. That's pretty valuable. That's pretty sweet. Question is, do I stack up Drake May with Romeo Dobbs, or do I say fuck it and just draft a running back because that position kind of dried up on me? But Mason RB3 kind of saves me as the same buy as Gibbs, though. That's kind of a bummer. Romeo Dobbs stacks up well, but I also really, really trust Chris Rodriguez in a weird way. I'm going to go C-Rod. I'm going to do it. The RB2, RB3, and RB4 on this team are kind of floor plays, and I really wasn't expecting the Mason pick to fall. So the 2-4-4-1 so far with elite quarterback production. The RB1, at least by ADP, Jahmyr Gibbs, with Kenny Gainwell, Jordan Mason, Chris Rodriguez. An unstacked Drake May, but who cares? Wide receiver has George Pickens, Chris Olave, Devontae Adams, Ricky Pearsall. And then the tight end position has Colston Loveland. This team's really fun. I like this team a lot. Let's show you guys the board, though. After I took Mason and C-Rod, Aaron Jones, Isaiah Likely off the board, stacks up with Jackson Dart, and then Malik Willis to Super Beast at 124. Romeo Dobbs finally goes at 125 to Daddy Chill. Yo, I totally read that as Daddy Chill. You know that meme with the dude that's like, Daddy Chill, and then the dad's like, what the hell is even that? It's Daddy Chili. Tommy's drafting from the 5 in this lobby, but that's funny. Zero fucks. I'm really not worried about Hall of Fame receivers facing good cornerbacks anyways. That is a very fair point, Zero. Yeah, pretty minor bet, but Mike Evans has missed more games. Undoubtedly, Mike Evans has been the less likely player to play all 17 weeks compared to Devontae Adams as of late. Last year, I think Adams would have returned to the field if not for McVay trying to just keep him healthy for the playoffs. I think the way McVay was coaching was just making sure he was there for the playoffs, and maybe it cost them uh, the division possibly, but ultimately Adams has usually been healthier than Mike Evans. But Uzi, are you going to do more pugs? I have one more. We're not going to do one today, though. I'll save that for another time. The contest isn't close enough to filling, or I'm worried about it. Glad to get one in, though. And if we are going to do another pug, we're going to save that for maybe the top of the live stream. Today, there was very little notice. We posted the thumbnail about 10 minutes before I went live, maybe less than that. So if you made it in at the beginning, you either refreshed at the right time or you are part of the notification gang. And definitely like when some of the people early on can get in on a draft like this with a elite advanced structure. So I'm going to save my third pug for another day, but we will do the top of the poll. Right now, the poll is saying PPR. The PPR Frenchie is winning the poll right now. But Sweet Leaf says, "How is zero running back ruining this draft?" I mean, I think some teams might get a little desperate at receiver, like the team with Igbuka, Carnell Tate, Josh Downs, Matthew Golden. That's not the most impressive I've ever seen. But there's too many receivers for it to really crater anyone completely. So for the most part, it just leads to more like double anchor, wideout, or like just one elite player and then more depth plays. But I'm not upset about the team at 11. I'm fine with it. They can do what they want. If they ruined the draft, they ruined their own team, not mine. I'm not worried about it. But do you think the November THCA ban is going to stick? A lot of people rely on that. I am unaware of that. Is that something California related or elsewhere? I'm not sure. I do not know. Never ideal if they ban something, but I don't know. We'll see. All right. I'm going to go Hunter Henry with one of these picks for sure. Pair him up with Drake May, at least have one stack on the team. And then knowing how receiver goes, I'm tempted to take Chigo Conko at a nice little fall, but really at pick 145, it's not that crazy. I think I'd rather just load up on a receiver I feel pretty good about and trust quite a bit. I'm going to go with Jalen McMillan here. Him versus Trey Tucker is an interesting discussion. I think they're the last two that like feel very locked into production, but ultimately in Tampa, it's a contract year for Baker Mayfield, and his connection with Jalen McMillan has always been pretty impressive, dating back to his rookie season. So McMillan, I think, is an excellent value. I believe the locked-in wide receiver 3. I'm not that worried about Ted Hurst, and if anything, McMillan makes me a little worried about Igbuka at times. I like Igbuka a lot. I'm not going to shy away from taking Igbuka in the third, but I don't know if I want to be heavily overweight Igbuka, or even Chris Godwin for that matter, because of a talent like Jalen McMillan and what he's shown he can do. The value he's offered on like 40-yard touchdowns consistently has been pretty impressive. So I like McMillan a lot. In the 13th round, I'll take him there with some confidence. And just keep it balanced at receiver. We have to start 3 every week. So even though I trust my top options, I kind of planned for 5 receivers through the first 10, 11 rounds, and we did pass on Romeo Doubs. So getting back in at the position with a guy that offers similar upside to Romeo Doubs, you're telling me like Doubs is not going to hit your lineup every week. That's for sure. But he can also give you like 70 yards and 2 touchdowns, theoretically. Especially in the Patriots system, he will get some deep targets and have some 30-yard catches that turn into a touchdown. That's what McMillan can offer, so I think we can hit the lineup comparably with McMillan compared to what Doubs offered. But Doubs did stack. There was the added component of the Patriots stack. I fulfill that, though, with Hunter Henry. It's not the end of the world. Mr. Mufasa, appreciate that. Hit the like and take a pull. Definitely. We are at 28 likes right now. Let's do 33 likes and we'll take our next rip from the pipe. I also have to pack the bowl. It is currently cached. So, at 33 likes, I'll hit the pipe one more time. But there's definitely a tier of receivers to not worry about cornerback matchups ever. It it is relevant. It is a little bit relevant. If I pull up Mike Evans' game log from last year, his first 3 games are a little bit mediocre because of the cornerback matchup. It's not irrelevant, and I do think at this stage of Mike Evans' career, it's a little bit more relevant than previously, but there are receivers where you definitely don't worry about it. But if I told you Mike Evans goes up against Pat Surtain, are you for sure starting Mike Evans in your lineup depending on who else you have? Is he absolutely a lock as one of your 2 starting receivers? Not always. Not always. But some people just don't worry about it. Some people don't give a shit. And sometimes they're still rewarded. But Disbanded says, I still need to send you some Irie Maiden. If you would like Disbanded, hit me up on email or Twitter through the email. Send me an email. Hit me up on email. I'm really showing my age. My age definitely starts with a 19, not a 2000. I'll tell you that. But Keith, the big shooter, I want 10% if you win at all. A multi-drafting would never have let May get by me that late. I know, right? Can you believe I got Drake May in this one where I did? Pretty insane. But what's up, Blunt? What kind of draft is this? We're in the Pug, AMC. May have mentioned it since you came in, but I'm pretty slow in the chat almost always. But Blunt looks extra high today, but still sharp. Do I? I don't think I look that high. I've looked much worse. I've definitely looked a lot more high previously. But okay, we're coming back around. Trey Harris is still here. Kenyon Sadiq has fallen. I don't really care for Kenyon Sadiq, though. There he goes. I was not really interested in drafting Sadiq. If anything, I've been talking myself into drafting Isaac Tesla a little bit more. We also have Jahmyr Gibbs on this team, so another aspect of that Bears-Lions bring back. I'm drafting Tesla with one of these picks. I feel pretty good about his ADP right now. I think he will contribute at least in the same way as last year with like random touchdowns. If not, somebody goes down. Maybe he even takes over for JMO. That is also possible. But with this other pick, running back really dried up. I'm going to get another tight end, someone that's pretty safe and productive. We'll go with Dalton Schultz. Having a third tight end, someone like Schultz, I think is pretty valuable at times. And he is really locked into a lot of targets. Like, that is not going away. If anything, Dalton Schultz is the main reason why I don't like drafting Jaden Higgins. I think we might be drafting some of the Houston receivers in the wrong order. And for Schultz to go this late next to TJ Hawkinson behind Kenyon Sadiq, he's an excellent value. I like AJ Barner a lot in this round as well, but I have no issue just taking Schultz here and just locking up targets that I know are coming. There's no way you can tell me Dalton Schultz is not getting a lot of targets this year. But how much cannabis do you smoke per week? It's a good question. I try to do about half an ounce per month. Like an eighth a week, basically. If I buy a full ounce, I would like that to last me at least like 6 to 8 weeks. If not longer. So I would say about, roughly speaking, an eighth per week. Something like that. What up, what up? LOL just saw your name in this draft and was like, oh shit, he's probably streaming. Nice to see you, Drew. Which pick do you have? Are you Melon Ball, Drew? I think you might be Melon Ball. Are you right next to me? Let me know. I'm way behind on the chat. I gotta fucking catch up. Catch up quickly. But you think Mike Evans has more upside than Ricky in a given week? Yes, but I could also see Ricky Pearsall be way, way closer to Mike Evans in production than most people think. Good afternoon. Good luck doing another. Yes, we are doing at least one more, if not two. It looks like we're drafting a full PPR Frenchie with the next one. But yeah, he also got shot last year. Some leg injuries. The leg injuries I'd worry about. The getting shot part, not really a big deal. But an ounce a week, no. An eighth a week is definitely where I'm in. That's my level of commitment. But let's not compare JSN and Ricky, please. JSN was a steal in the draft and had injury concerns. Ricky was overdrafted. They are not the same, but it's an example of a third-year breakout that illustrates my point zero. It doesn't need to be a one-for-one comparison, but I understand you wanting to pump the brakes on that. But disbanded, I can draft QJ at his current ADP. Can't draft him. He's been moving up the board. I still think that's probably like justified where he was taken today at pick 60. But my draft looks wildly different if I don't go Loveland. Definitely. But honestly, I think getting Jordan Mason to fall at 120 was clutch. I think, honestly, my running back room is fine. I'm not worried about it. I only need 2 of them to start every week, and I have Gibbs. So I think I'm going to be fine at running back. But Puka moves around the formation more, so it would make sense he draws easier coverage. I guess if you're going to shadow someone, it makes more sense that it's someone that doesn't move around as much as Puka. But if you told me Puka faced tougher matchups, I can believe it. That's why I went back and checked. Yeah, very fair. Sutton, Myers, Dobbs is like the daddest wide receiver room ever. It's not that exciting. I'll say that. Not very exciting, but Daddy Chill is literally one of the funniest mini clips I've ever seen. I know that clip still has aged pretty well. It's like, it's so out of left field. It's like, is this a skit? I'm not really sure if it's a skit or not. I got no idea, but would love Dontavian Wicks here. Don't snipe me, Melon Ball, on Dontavian Wicks. Please don't do that. He goes Kate Otten. I was just misdirecting. I've talked myself into Judy being a very good pick right now. Judy, I think, is a very legit candidate to get traded. I think it could easily happen. So not only that, he fell a full round in this one. ADP 180, pick 192 on Judy is looking like a steal. So love that for me. I think I need another running back here. And the guy I like the most is Katron. Ambiguous backfield in Washington. And I didn't take Rashad White earlier, so even better bet to go with Katron here. But I mentioned I'd take a rip at 33 likes. I apologize. The bowl is not packed, but we were around the long turn. It's definitely the time. Appreciate y'all for hitting the like button and having a good afternoon with me. But all right, we got a 2573 built on this one, and the team looks pretty fun, pretty solid. And we will recap it right after we take a rip. All right, I pulled the 101. We took Gibbs, double-tapped receiver with Pickens and Olave. I got the bring back with Colston Loveland. And the plan was kind of always to hope for Caleb Williams at the 6-7 turn. I took Adams, grabbed another receiver I really trusted. The difference between Devontae Adams and Mekhi Lemon is pretty significant. Meanwhile, the difference between Travion Henderson and Ramondre Stevenson, you might be drafting them in the wrong order. So I have talked myself a little bit more into receiver values at the 4-5 turn rather than grabbing running back, even if I don't have my second one yet. But we got gifted Drake May at 72, so weren't going to pass that up. Then I took Caleb Williams. I'm done at quarterback with those two different bye weeks as well. Feels great with Drake May and Caleb Williams. Also get the advantage of not having to draft a third quarterback. That's always nice. A little extra luxury pick for another position. But Kenny Gainwell, because I think he's a phenomenal value. I think he could be just as good as Bucky in theory. And if he's as good as last year, he's going to crush this value. But Ricky Pearsall, possibly one of the best values on the board at receiver. If he stays healthy, he should score more touchdowns. I think he will be a great player at cost. But got gifted Mason Jordan Mason at 120. Rumor has it he is by far the RB1 in Minnesota this year. They're looking to scale back Aaron Jones significantly, but Mason doesn't catch passes that could still hold him back, but the offense will be much better with Kyler. Chris Rodriguez, though, I believe in him. So does Liam Cohen. They paid him a lot, and I'm not that worried about his foot injury. It looks like he's going to be ready for training camp, so it's possible his ADP rises quickly once that gets going. Then we took Hunter Henry for the stack, Jalen McMillan at 145, just another receiver I like a lot. Isaac Tesla, high touchdown upside as well, and then one of the best handcuff wide receivers in the NFL because he's attached to Detroit. Then I took Dalton Schultz, just raw target volume. Then I got Jerry Jeudy at 192. That felt clutch. Definitely a click I've been wanting to take a little bit more of recently, so very happy he was available for me. Melon Ball went with 4 tight ends, so I think that was a gift as well. And then my boy Katron Allen, love him. Shout out Jonathan, member of the subscriber league, his boy as well. With this last pick, though, I'm not totally sure where I want to go. I'm on the clock. I kind of want to take Njoku. I could go Jordan James. Running back might be the move. I could go Keenan, but honestly, my receiver room feels decent. There's also Claiborne. You know what? I'll go Claiborne. I'll bet on Minnesota and just against Aaron Jones. If you told me Mason doesn't work out, it's because someone like Damon Claiborne goes nuclear. He's the one with speed. He's the one with true breakout upside. And because I'm worried about Mason catching passes, I do believe Claiborne will be the third down back. Definitely change of pace option. And I think catch some passes when Aaron Jones goes down. So I like Claiborne quite a bit. I haven't taken him much, but in terms of luxury picks, I didn't want it to be tight end. We got 3 that I feel great about. I didn't feel like receiver was desperate for it. Getting Jerry Jeudy there, I think, is pretty valuable, especially if he is traded to a team like Miami. That would be amazing. But running back was the one position where I kind of pushed a little bit. And although I feel good about Kenny Gainwell, Mason, and Chris Rodriguez, let's shoot for like true upside. And also it's an insurance policy where if Mason does ever get hurt and Aaron Jones also gets hurt, Damon Claiborne would, I think, be a league winner in that scenario. I think Claiborne would be really, really compelling if you told me Mason also got hurt. But he could also just beat out Jordan Mason, look better, and be more valuable. That's also possible. Minnesota has a weird backfield. I'm willing to take the shot on the rookie with my last pick. So I love this team. Very fun in the pug. Feels excellent. And maybe some more stacks at receiver could help me out. But I still have the tight ends stacked. Loveland and Hunter Henry, I think, are fine. So excellent team. I love this one. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. We had Super Beast in this one. Daddy Chili in this one. And I think Drew is Melon Ball. Let me know, Drew. I'm sure when I catch up with the comments, I'll find you. But let me try and speed run the comments while we have a little break in the broadcast real quick. But last year, Evans wasn't on an injury report for a hammy at least once, was 2019. Yeah, he always misses at least 3 weeks with a hammy. Last year, the collarbone as well. And then there's the substation and the extra travel for the Niners, the 2 international games. The injury risk, I think, is very high this year with the Niners. But Uzi did not get a notification for some reason. Check if you have all notifications or like personalized notifications. That could be the difference. But Sweet Leaf, who's my favorite actor and one favorite comedically? Good question. I think one of my favorite actors is probably Joaquin Phoenix, if not Leonardo DiCaprio. They've both been linked to one of my favorite directors, Paul Thomas Anderson, in the last decade or so. And I would say it's a battle between those two on my favorite actor, either Leonardo DiCaprio or Joaquin Phoenix. Christian Bale is also really close. Probably a strong third. But comedically, John C. Reilly is also like really underrated. I think John C. Reilly is one of like the best, both comedic and dramatic actors. Some of the best range. Honestly, I love like every single John C. Reilly movie. Walk Hard, fucking goated. Step Brothers, goated. Also, Paul Thomas Anderson movies. Magnolia, as well as Boogie Nights, especially in Boogie Nights. Yeah, love John C. Riley. Um, his favorite actor is Pauly Shore. Fuck you. Fuck you. No way would I give you a Pauly Shore ranking at the top. But do you ever put distillate on top of your flour? I do not. I do. Sometimes I'll do the keef that's caught at the bottom, but half the time I forget to do it, and then sometimes you just drop it. So not really. But disbanded Irie Maiden, Black Ice, Blackout Bobby, Strawberry Gary, GG4, Ram Scotty, African Fire, and Double Bubba. Dope. But yeah, some probably consider me a lightweight. I don't make weed my entire personality. I like to smoke. I don't want to spend a shit ton of money on something I'm going to burn, and I just like to get high on my own terms. But I'm not like up to speed on like every single strain like disbanded might be. I definitely can't reference this type of thing. That's just not the type of stoner I am. But I'm RB1, Josh Allen team. Gotcha, RB1. We'll give you a team review as well since it's the pug. And I'm interested. But they all hit hard like Kimbo Slice. You know it. Hard to believe that PPR is winning the poll with it being 150 max for 10K. I know the 10K max is kind of odd, kind of low. But if that's what the poll wants, it's what we're gonna do. We're gonna do the fast puppy after that. So we'll do one of each. But white runts and midnight runts as well. The list goes on and on. On and 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 on. Shout out Oliver Tree. R.I.P. Oliver Tree. Xavier Scott would play before Claiborne. That's a take. Honestly, it's possible. But Uzi says watched Odyssey last night, was amazing. Christopher Nolan always kills it, man. Christopher Nolan, one of the best directors of our time. I'll probably end up seeing the Odyssey as well. Tonight, I'm going to see an old movie at the theater. I'm going to see The Thing, John Carpenter's The Thing from 1986, I believe. I believe it's 1986. All practical effects in that movie. Love that movie. And my girlfriend has never seen it. So going to be fun. But if you haven't seen The Thing, John Carpenter's The Thing with Kurt Russell, got to check it out. Keith David, also excellent actor in that movie. Austin, I named my first son Leonardo after Leonardo DiCaprio and Leonardo Ninja Turtle. I would say the Ninja Turtle is probably what I would name it after before an actor. But Leo's pretty dope. Leo's a good name. Step Brothers, now that's funny. Yeah, that's a good movie. Did you put your nutsack on my fucking drum set? The guy that played the butcher in Gangs in New York. Was he in Gangs in New York as well? I don't think I've seen Gangs in New York. I don't think I've seen that. Javier Bardem is really good. Oh, yeah, he's excellent. Fucking No Country for Old Men. Damn, that one's a banger. I have no idea what Lioness is. I've never seen Lioness, but let's fucking go, Daryl. Same, saw Odyssey last night, was blown away. Probably going to watch it again in IMAX. Yeah, got to see it maybe in IMAX. It's still a Christopher Nolan movie. It's probably worth seeing, but I have Refrigerators of Genetics. Gotcha. Going back tomorrow, watch again. Did you ever watch John C. Reilly's Check It Out with Steve? Oh, love that, man. Fucking Adult Swim with Tim Heidecker and Eric Wareheim. Yo, that's like, if you're in film school, you're gonna inevitably see that. Yeah, that's maybe a little bit niche, but also like very mainstream in a way. Yeah, definitely love that. The Thing's from 1982, says Albie. Okay, 1982, even earlier. Love The Thing. Excellent movie. Highly recommend. The Thing is amazing. All right, let's do the team reviews real quick. Daniel Day-Lewis. Oh, Daniel Day-Lewis, also linked to Paul Thomas Anderson. Phenomenal actor. One of the best of all time, actually. Okay. I already showed you my team. My team's pretty good. We got Super Beast. Keith is in the house. He has 4 quarterbacks on this one. 5 RBs, 7 receivers, and 2 tight ends. This one will be interesting. Tyler Shuck, Malik Willis, CJ Stroud, and Aaron Rodgers. So attacking it by volume, very interesting. The 13 pick fall on Aaron Rodgers. Honestly, I don't hate it. Let's see how the rest of it looks, though. Let's see. We got DeAndre Swift, Trayvon Henderson, Tony Pollard, Jonathan Brooks, and Keaton Mitchell. Pretty solid, fairly balanced. Swift as the RB1 isn't amazing, but it's never bad. And then Travion on a team like this, you have enough to balance it out. There is a pretty big bet on Brooks, but Pollard, I think, really saves it. And then if Hampton goes down, Keaton Mitchell will work out. But running back room is decent. I wouldn't say it's like my favorite I've ever seen, but it's decent. It gets the job done. But Keaton Mitchell might be an overspend, possibly. Puka, Devontae, Metcalf, Pittman. So the double Rodgers bet, yeah, definitely the stack was worth it. Debo, Jalen Noel, and Kevin Coleman out of Miami. Haven't seen Kevin Coleman drafted before. Gonna have to look him up because the Dolphins training camp is really interesting. Who will win the job? Maybe it's Jerry Jeudy. But Brock Bowers, Juwan Johnson, that's definitely checking out. Excellent tight end room. Running back room is fine. Quarterback room has a lot of points there. So, honestly, I don't hate it. Jalen Noel and Kevin Coleman, though, feel kind of worthless. So, Puka, Devontae, the Steelers, and Debo is the main bet. Yeah, the flex position, a little bit thin, but you took 4 quarterbacks. I'm sure Austin wanted you to take Jalen Tolbert. We have combating Dolphins takes in the chat. Austin says it's Jalen Tolbert. Drew says it's Kevin Coleman. Some people still draft Malik Washington. I think that's a big mistake. I am willing to mix in Caleb Douglas. I'm not really drafting Chris Bell, but I could also envision a world where Calvin Ridley or Jerry Jeudy or even Kayshon Boutte end up being the Dolphins receiver 1. We'll see. Good luck, Super Beast. I'm not quite sure. I would have drafted this team myself. If there's one pick that's a little bit odd, it might be like maybe Malik Willis above ADP is like the luxury pick, but Stroud after ADP only stacked up with Noel. I'm not sure if it's the best pick. I might have sniped you on Dalton Schultz. Possibly that was a factor in this one, but let's take a look at Daddy Chili, just because it's the pug and I'm interested. He started with Lamar and Burrow, so like me, 2 elite quarterbacks. I like stopping there. Travis Etienne, Josh Jacobs, Chuba Hubbard, Coleman, and B-Rob. I never like taking Chuba Hubbard, at least it's past ADP, but I think he needs to be a full round less expensive. I think Brooks will steal his job, but good luck with Jacobs. Coleman feels kind of worthless to me, especially above ADP. I don't love that. And then B-Rob is fine, but obviously the bet on Bijan is much safer. But JSN, Drake London, the double elite anchor, dropping off to Sutton is kind of significant, but solid. Myers is also pretty solid. You got Dobbs at 125. That's definitely good value. Travis Hunter, I've been drafting more of him lately. Very high upside pick. This is the luxury selection. Trey Harris at 173 is pretty dope. And then Antonio Williams at 188 can possibly fall even further. Might be undrafted if they sign Stephon Diggs, but at least it's 188, a full round discount. That's okay. Not my favorite pick, though. Laporta, Freiermuth, and Stowers is fine, but Stowers feels very worthless. I don't like drafting Stowers at all. So, interesting team. I think if you told me Stowers was either anyone else at tight end or just another running back, I like this team a little bit more. Either him or Antonio Williams could be different positions. But structurally, it's not a problem. If Chuba is a very good pick, I'm losing money. But the running back room, I think, is okay. It's not my favorite. That's the main concern, is RB. But lastly, we got RB1 in this one. Yeah, RB1 was the last team drafting with us. But after this, we draft in full PPR. Allen and Jordan Love, pretty solid. James Cook, Devon Achane, Tyrone Tracy, Tank Bigsby, and Marshawn Lloyd. So you got the bring back in week 17 after pulling up James Cook. I don't mind it. Tyrone Tracy, Tank Bigsby, and Marshawn Lloyd, though, feels kind of thin. it's a big bet on Cook and Achan. They kind of need to stay healthy. Or my boy Bigsby just crushes sooner than expected. But T. Higgins in the fourth, always valuable. 8-pick slide is really, really nice. You got bailed out with T. Higgins, honestly. But Christian Watson, Jordan Tyson, Jordan Addison, Michael Wilson, Khalil Shakir, Malik Washington, and Keon Coleman. Very legit. I do not like the Malik Washington pick at all, though. And then Keon Coleman also feels kind of worthless, but does stack up with Allen, so it's all right. It's okay. Tucker Kraft, Oronde Gadsden, and Greg Dulcich. That's a legit tight end room. No issue there whatsoever. The Christian Watson, Tucker Kraft double stack, that's pretty sweet with Jordan Love. The Jordan Love pick looks even better in full context. So good team, RB1. Honestly, this team can definitely compete. It's kind of a question of how much do you need Tyrone Tracy in the flex. The flex is probably okay. Receiver might not hit enough, but RB3 is a little bit vulnerable. That's the only complaint. Otherwise, though, the team is excellent. The team looks really good overall. All right, that's it. No more team reviews. Let's hop into... Oh, no, not the Fast Puppy. We're doing the PPR Frenchie. That's what the poll has requested. The final results on the poll, we have 35 votes, 60-40 in favor of full PPR. That means our last draft of the evening will be in the Fast Puppy. So if you want to draft with me, get ready. Hope it's up on your screen because I'll give you a countdown. But we're drafting in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Hope you join this lobby if you would like. There are 5 spots left. Come on down if you want it. But Sweet Leaf asking, first movie you saw in the theater? I don't know if I remember, man. I'm not quite sure I recall. I want to say... The first movie I can, like, vividly remember going to see in the theater is, like, Star Wars The Phantom Menace. That's the episode 1 from Star Wars. Probably like my most vivid movie theater memory, but I'm sure I have some recollection of something before that. If I had to guess, it would be something like The Iron Giant. If I had to guess, that's probably something more along the lines of like first movie I saw in theaters. Iron Giant's also amazing. Like, very deep and pretty sad as well. But, like, for a kid's movie, that shit slapped back in the 90s. A-Rod says Gary Oldman should be in the conversation. Gary Oldman's definitely a very talented actor. I wouldn't say he comes to the top of the mind when I think of my favorite actors, but there is nothing wrong with someone who would say Gary Oldman is their favorite. Gary Oldman is very legit. Very legit. You know what my favorite role of Gary Oldman's is all time? He played Rolf in Tiptoes, the role of a lifetime. Gary Oldman in Tiptoes. If you have not, you should watch Tiptoes. I'll go in blind. Don't do any research. Don't do a single second of research. Just go and watch Tiptoes. It stars Matthew McConaughey, Kate Blanchett, Patricia Arquette. Peter Dinklage is in this movie. And Gary Oldman. But first movie disbanded saw in the theater was Baby. I don't think I recall Baby. I'm not quite sure what that is. About a dinosaur. Oh, wow. A-Chan. Yo, Big Sweezy. Is Peppertoni in this lobby? We saw a pull-up A-Chan at pick 8. Damn. That's interesting. I'll just take Taylor. I'll just take Jonathan Taylor, pick 9. I'll do that. Maybe a slightly unique combo. Seems like his ADP in this contest is pick 9. Oh, right. We're in the full PPR thing. Shit. Right. We're in full PPR. Whatever. Now I understand why A-Chan went there. That's still kind of wild to me. That A-Chan at 8, even in full PPR, is still kind of wild. But Austin, I'd love booty on the Commanders. Kayshon Bouttie's an interesting player where, like, I haven't drafted him because I took him so much in pre-draft, but it's possible he's still very relevant. It's still possible that that's the case. I think I was 5 years old, says disbanded. You probably saw a movie sooner than that, but to fully remember it is the thing. This draft is going to be so fetch, says Albie69. You quoting Mean Girls? Are you quoting Mean Girls, man? That's kind of wild. I'm gonna go Hampton here. Saquon not gonna catch as many passes probably. Yeah, Hampton I think can catch 60 plus. I'll take Hampton over Ken Walker. So maybe I'd like my team a little bit more had I taken a receiver there, but Jonathan Taylor, a very productive running back, no doubt about that. That's gonna be fine. But legitimately, I kind of forgot we were in full PPR for a second. But Taylor at pick 9, I'm not upset with that. That's still okay. But sorry, Uzi, you just missed it. 30 seconds behind. Yeah, you got to be also exactly synced up with the live. But JT over AJ Brown is wild, brother. I literally forgot, but it's all right. I'll get away with it. I think it'll be okay. But Sweet Leaf, wow, mine was Star Wars Empire Strikes Back. Yeah, much different time. That's pretty goated. That's a pretty quintessential movie to start off with. But 170 targets locked in. For AJ Brown, possibly. I would say more like 150. 170 might be a little high, but I could totally see that as well. The Never-Ending Story is the second movie I remember. I don't think I've ever seen that. That doesn't ring a single bell. But N. Chan Burn says AJ Brown, his knee is cooked. His knee has been cooked for 7 years. Counters, 0 fucks. If anyone doesn't care, if anyone gives no fucks about it, it's probably 0. But I think I would still probably take CeeDee Lamb over AJ Brown in full PPR. I think I'd still probably go CeeDee Lamb. But we go JT. It is what it is. It's whatever. Anyways, let's shout out the viewers in this lobby. We got FF Links at the 101. 0 fucks is drafting in here at the 102. We have Hartman at pick 3. Young Phil is watching at pick 4. The Burgess at pick 5. RB1 is also in here again. J-Rock to Party at pick 7. Big Sweezy in the house at 108. Air Jeff is right after me at pick 10. Amped Phil and Underdogs Anonymous. This is a full house. Literally, I believe this is a full house. All 12, I think, are in here. Kyron catches like 30 plus, but I think I'm just going to go T. Higgins because I need a receiver. T. Higgins is not the best pick in full PPR, but still wide receiver adds a lot, and it's kind of just out of necessity. I need it. I don't think he'll make it back. And I already maybe capped myself for receptions with Taylor in the first place, but it's possible that Taylor catches more receptions this year. It's definitely a chance to happen. But AJ Brown going down, he's already got paid. I think last year was so bad, he has a chip on his shoulder this season. I might worry about him long term because it's not like he's in the middle of his prime. Like he's more towards the end of his prime. Maybe like 3 years from now, AJ Brown will maybe fall off a little bit. But this year, I wouldn't worry about it at all. Wow, Kyron circles back at pick 40. I might just do that. I might really regret it, though. But F it. I'll go Kyron. We'll just take the ADP fall. The ADP is not really correct in this one. That's kind of what maybe cost me with the Taylor pick a little bit. But I would probably like this team a lot more if you told me I still got Kyron in the 4th round and I just took Jefferson instead of Taylor. I'd probably like this team a little bit more. But Drews is probably never going to get a JSN Saquon Love team again. I'm not sure Jeremiah Love is really worth that price, but possibly no. It does look pretty solid, but I got Love at 31 in a fast puppy last draft, so maybe not. I think getting Saquon at 19 is more so the unique option, but in full PPR, that's kind of wild that he fell to you 19. Saquon is the really interesting pick there. Air Jeffs is a Love ETN in this format. We'll see. Yeah, I might be. I might be zero. I don't think mentally I fully adjusted when we entered this lobby. But I feel like AJ Brown demanded a trade so he could get better stats. There's also the weird element with him and Jalen Hurts and his like affair and shit. Not Jalen Hurts' affair. AJ Brown's affair. There's some weird like drama that led to him being annoying in the locker room and not being too happy with how other people like responded with his like toxic choices. Hartman so far has Jamar Chase, Nico Collins, Zay Flowers, Swift, and Lamar Jackson. Hartman's got a lot of targets on his team. Zero has Bijan, Rashee Rice, Breece Hall, Luther Burden, Devontae Adams. Also a lot of targets on his team. It's possible I am behind the eight ball, but Rice at 23 is wild. Yeah, the receivers at that 2-3 turn are probably even more valuable in this format by a mile. But okay, I think I'll just go DJ Moore. I feel pretty safe betting on that. My running back room is pretty good, and don't think it helps me enough to go with Quinchon there. Need receiver before it dries up, so I'll go DJ Moore. Tyler Warren at pick 58. I respect that. Colston Loveland went pick 42 in this one. That's kind of interesting. But Tyler Warren, half a round higher, basically. About 6 picks earlier than typical. But imagine AJ Brown sucking so bad last year and was still wide receiver 11. Was that in just like total points or points per game? I don't exactly remember. I have it somewhere. Let me... In terms of points per game, you are correct. Yeah, AJ Brown was wide receiver 11 in points per game last year. He played 15 games, but he was also 11th in points per game. Oh, you're saying total points. He might be both. He might be both, but I think from what I have, it looks like points per game. Damn. I think I'm taking Harrison. I think so. Volume-wise, you think he's a little bit better in this format. And I'm not completely desperate, but it's definitely a position I don't want to fall behind on. So I will take Harrison here at 64. I don't usually take him, but in this format, I think he's a little bit more valuable than other formats. I could easily see them just like try to see what they have and send him like 10 targets a week for like the first 8 games. Just trial by fire. And then maybe he just doesn't prove himself, but should probably deliver a little bit better in full PPR. But I could be wrong. Maybe he's a big touchdown guy or just sucks at both categories. Maybe Michael Wilson is the better value. Who knows? But I'm willing to take Harrison just because I need receiver. Kyron at 40 feels good. Yeah, I would agree. If anything, it was passing on Jefferson. That's probably the pick I messed up the most with. But Rice at 23 is wild. Tried to get in the lobby, but it was a swing and a miss, says B Croc. We'll draft one more. I think we'll draft another one after this. But good luck next time. Hartman says Travion about to hit AJ Brown with Bible quotes to show him the right path. The savior he doesn't want but might need. Rice goes like pick 15 or 16 on drafters, I believe. I don't think so. In my drafters teams, I haven't drafted many of them, but I've done 3, and I think I'm in the top like 4 picks on all 3 of them. And I've gotten Rashee Rice every single time in the late second, even early third. I think I've taken him every single time late second round. I think so. But yeah, you got to hit the button a little earlier in the countdown most of the time. But wide receiver 14 in total, 11 in points per game. Yeah, that sounds right. Okay, Herbert went, so not going to stack him with Hampton on this one. I think I'll go Alec Pierce. Shit, I don't know if I'm going to do that. I think I'll go Chris Godwin, actually. Godwin, I think I would trust a little bit more for catches than Alec Pierce. Alec Pierce only had 47 catches on 84 targets last year. The yards are there. The touchdowns are decent, but if Chris Godwin's healthy, I would assume more targets for him. I think he's a better full PPR pick, in my opinion. But I think I'm going to push quarterback to the next round, in all honesty. I think this is a round where drafting receivers a little bit more critical. And I'm probably going to go in a similar direction to the last team, but now getting a massive quarterback upgrade 2 tiers higher. On AJ Brown, yeah, there's a world where AJ Brown drops like 20 touchdowns. It's possible. He's like the true player you need, but I'm not going to go Jaden Reed or Cortland Sutton. While I do think Cortland Sutton gets like 100 plus targets, I think Ricky Pearsall is going to crush. I'm going to go Ricky Pearsall, actually. Either him or Michael Pittman. Actually, I'll take Michael Pittman. In full PPR, I think I'd actually rather go Michael Pittman. I trust Pittman to play all 17 games. I think they're both good picks. But I think the nature of the Mike McCarthy offense, there's going to be more passing volume this year. And I think Michael Pittman will benefit from those short targets, those like 8-yard, air yard type of targets. I think Pittman will crush in full PPR. So I'll go Pittman here. I think our quarterback values will still be pretty solid at the next turn. I still might get a tight end I really like as well. I think I'll be all right. But got Tyler Warren to fall to 72 in a Gibbs team where I passed on Loveland, felt great. That's pretty dope, Stockton. Anytime you get Tyler Warren in the 70s, it's like an auto click. Always feels like a great choice. But May is 2 tiers above Hurts is laughable, says Enchan Birds. If it wasn't for the schedule being so easily, I think I would agree with 0, but 2 full tiers, maybe not. Hurts is a winner. Say what you will about Hurts, maybe as a thrower of the football. Hurts doesn't really utilize the middle of the field at all, but at least at quarterback, he's pretty productive. But as a thrower of the football, I would say May is definitely a tier above, if not 2. But yeah, in terms of accuracy, maybe. But if you watch the Super Bowl when Hurts beat the Chiefs, he was pretty fucking accurate that day. Yeah, in fantasy, it matters a little bit more, though, than just straight up wins. Wowie Zowie. JSN or Amon-Ra? I think the safer pick is Amon-Ra. but the higher upside is JSN. But I think Amon Ra is the better pick. I rank Amon Ra over JSN, so my answer is Amon Ra. 2007 Randy walks so that 2026 AJ Brown can run. Yeah, exactly. That's the whole inspiration for the trade. Can we replicate Randy Moss with AJ Brown? I'm not going to take Dobbins, I'll tell you that. I'm inclined to go with Kyle Pitts here. Fannin is also pretty interesting, but I'll go Kyler actually. Kyler's on the thumbnail. I don't have the stack, but I'm willing to kind of dismiss that just for the sake of like who I think can actually have the highest ceiling. Stafford should be great for total points. So maybe stacking him with Kyron was a better call, but I kind of want to see what happens at tight end around this turn. And I do actually really feel good about Kyler Murray this year. Unstacked, I think, isn't terrible just because he does run a lot. And I could still go TJ Hawkinson, who in full PPR is way, way more compelling of a selection. In half PPR, I'm not that excited about TJ Hawkinson. But in full PPR, I think he gets like 80 plus targets. So it's a little bit more exciting. There's still a backstack that's not terrible with Kyler. So I'll take Kyler. Just because Stafford stacks with Kyron doesn't feel great. Not going to lie, that's not that exciting. But Kyle Pitts makes it back. So I think I will just stick with that. I think the volume that Kyle Pitts is expected to get this year is just like kind of incomparable to anyone going later. 118 targets this last year. It should go up in the Kevin Stefanski system. If he has the Harold Fannin usage, it wouldn't shock me at all because other than Drake London, the only other threat for targets is Bijan Robinson. So Kyle Pitts, I think, is getting 120 plus targets, maybe up to 140, and maybe close to 100 catches, possibly. He had 88 catches last year. That would be pretty dope if he can do even better this season. But M. Stockton Pittman more likely to be healthy and not get shot. Yeah, definitely that's the case. Definitely would apply. But what's up, Young Moolah? Nice to see you. Appreciate you popping in. So far, we're drafting an interesting team. We kind of ignored the onesie positions, but we have a 1-3-5-1 at the moment. We have Kyler Murray, Jonathan Taylor, Omarion Hampton, and Kyron Williams. The running back room is getting a lot of volume, a lot of touchdowns in theory, but maybe not as many catches as I would prefer in a typical full PPR format. But I don't mind it. I really don't feel bad about this running back room, but it could be a little bit different. This team could look a little bit different for sure. Receiver, though, I think we caught up decently well. The Harrison pick still scares me, but in context, it's not that bad. We got T. Higgins, DJ Moore, Marvin Harrison, Chris Godwin, and then Michael Pittman Jr., Kyle Pitts at tight end. The Kyle Pitts selection, I think, is even more valuable in this format. This one is not total points, though. Right, yeah. On drafters, there's a total points aspect, and I guess people are worried about suspension with Rashee Rice, but I wouldn't worry about Rashee Rice at all. At this point, there's nothing to be fearful of on Rashee Rice, other than him just maybe getting in a big car crash again. But I guess it is a different format on drafters. Putting AJ Brown in the same breath as Randy Moss is a disgrace to top 3 wide receiver of all time. I understand the hope for AJ Brown, but he ain't prime Randy. He's not scoring 27 touchdowns, I'll tell you that. He's not going to be as good as Randy Moss, no doubt about it. But I think it's like I think that was the concept when they wanted to make the trade. When they wanted to sell Robert Kraft on trading for AJ Brown. I think this was kind of the idea. Like, Belichick was never able to capitalize on the Randy Moss years. They did go 17-1, but they didn't win the Super Bowl. They weren't a championship roster when they had Randy Moss on it. They were close to that. They were a contending roster, but they did not take home a ring. But we'll see what happens. I think they would like to replicate that, but really it's just for the development of Drake May. Drake May was an MVP candidate last year with that receiving core. Adding AJ Brown and Romeo Dobbs is a massive upgrade. Okay, I kind of want to take a running back here in Tyrone Tracy, but my running back room is pretty good. So I think I'm going to just trust tight end. I'm going to go with Kincaid and just hope that he stays healthy. I don't really love Andrews that much. It's been a while since he was a massive reception hog. He's good, but I think Kincaid can eclipse 100 targets if he stays fully healthy. I think they would like for that to happen. So I'm going to go Kincaid here. Paired up with Kyle Pitts, the tight end room feels very, very strong. Quarterback, though, is also a position of need, before we forget. So Tracy goes. That probably saves me from myself making a big bad decision. I was kind of hopeful for Malik Willis, to be honest with you. We did not get him. So here, it's not the most ideal scenario. I have Kyler Murray unstacked, and I'm probably going to need to take another quarterback here unstacked. Cam Ward would have been my preference, but I think I'm just going to take Daniel Jones, actually. I think so. I think I like him and the Shane Steichen offense a little bit more than Sam Darnold. And last year, he had top 10 upside any given week when healthy. So I'll just stack him up with Jonathan Taylor. I'm making the argument that Taylor catches more receptions this year, and the bet on the Colts offense feels pretty solid. Last year, they were excellent for fantasy purposes. So maybe he runs more than expected, but grabbing Sam Darnold unstacked is pretty gross, if you ask me. And then Stroud unstacked, I'm not excited about that at all. So at least Daniel Jones, a little bit more upside in my opinion. I'm fine with that. But unstacked Kyler when I have Addison and Jefferson is wild. Did you have that stack set up, Air Jeff? I'm sorry. Apologies, brother. Legitimately forgot. But sorry about that. But zero, Kelsey snipe was uncalled for, Hartman. Kelsey, I think, gets a little upgrade in full PPR as well. But at 118, I think it's a good click regardless if it's stacked or not. You have Xavier Worthy. You have Worthy and Rashee Rice. You're doing fine, Zero. You don't need the mega stack. You're going to be just fine with what you got. But Young Moolah says, I mean, it was the biggest upset in Super Bowl history. Pats went 17-0 and then lost one game. Pretty damn great team as they blew everyone out that year. Yeah, they were amazing in the regular season. And then what? Wasn't it the next year where Tom Brady like broke his leg? Like, isn't that how it happened? Where like they probably should have won 2 straight Super Bowls, but they choked in the big game. They didn't really choke, actually. Eli Manning just was so fucking good. And then the next season, Tom Brady breaks his leg. They still make the playoffs with, I'm forgetting his name. I can see his face so clearly. He played for the Chiefs after that. I'm forgetting the backup that year in 2008 for Tom Brady. But either way, they were a Super Bowl caliber roster for sure. They didn't get it done. They did not win the Super Bowl when it was all said and done. But did I snipe you on Daniel Jones? You got Tyler Warren. Oh no, you passed on Tyler Warren. First down is I'm forgetting where you're sitting, but I'm on the clock. I got to take this pick. I could go Juwan Jennings if I really wanted to. The stack is there. Running back though is also viable. If I'm going to stack it, I'm going to go TJ Hawkinson, though. I'll just get him on the roster because taking him here in the next round is kind of the same to me. I kind of don't really care too much about it. If anything, yeah, I think grabbing Juwan Jennings would have been a bad pick there, actually. But I have some backstack options. I have Jacoby Brissett if I really want to push it, but I expect him to get benched. I don't like it at all. If anything, Gardner Minshew might be a better pick than Brissett, possibly. Probably not, but possibly. Carson Beck, though, also in line to be productive. But with Pittman, I can also go with Aaron Rodgers. Bryce Young, though, is here available at 160. I don't have a stacking partner, though, so that's not that compelling. He had 229 points last year. Rodgers had more points last year, so yeah, I'll just stick with that. I'll go Rodgers. I think he'll be better. I also have the Pittman stack to justify it, so my quarterback room is not the most impressive, but in terms of like just overall points, I think it'll get the job done. Kyler Murray does have very high upside. Individual rushing production, also stacked with TJ Hawkinson, so not completely egregious. I have Daniel Jones stacked with Taylor for whatever that's worth. I have Aaron Rodgers, though, with Michael Pittman, and that is going to be valuable for me. But this tight end room is pretty decent. Kyle Pitts, Dalton Kincaid, and then the bounce back on Hawkinson. I never draft Hawkinson, but in this format, I think he's more valuable than in half PPR. And then at running back, I got Jonathan Taylor, Hampton, and Kyron. We haven't drafted another one since the 4th round. This 7-pick fall on Kyron was pretty valuable, though. I kind of think I would have liked this team a lot more, though, had I taken Justin Jefferson instead of Jonathan Taylor, and then grabbed either Quinshon Judkins or Byshel Tootin instead of Marvin Harrison. This team would have definitely been better with Jefferson over Taylor and Judkins instead of MHJ. The team kind of cost myself a little bit of advancement chances. The EV might be lower because of that. But it is what it is. Maybe we just get away with it because Taylor just crushes so hard. But Hartman says if it was Kelsey or Dobbs, you were never making it 0. You got to own the snipe. You got to just own it. But you're right, Stockton. It was Matt Castle. It was. Good call. Absolutely, it was Matt Castle. But Eli owns Tom just like Rodgers owns the Bears. Just like Nick Foles. Just like Nick Foles. But Eli has 2 rings over Tom. Pretty crazy. Wow, Bryce Young made it back? Damn, I kind of just want to take him. Shit. This is probably a big mistake if I do. So I'll go Jerry Jeudy. I actually didn't hate the roster we saw earlier with 4 quarterbacks on it, but I'll just take Jerry Jeudy. It's fine. If anything, force this lobby to make me take Bryce Young at 184. I know, right? This is the new brand play, basically. I'm fully betting on a trade. That is strictly what the bet is. But we got him at 190 in the last one. Here we get him 177. I would also say he's a little bit more valuable in full PPR as opposed to half. But damn. Bryce Young at 184. Shit. I mean, at this point, fuck it. At this point, who cares? It's unique. it's very unique. Let's just bet that Jeudy is indeed the Dolphins receiver 1. What if that's actually going to happen? What if he's either the Dolphins receiver 1 or the Falcons receiver 2? And Kevin Stefanski wants him there. This is an interesting one. I'm not sure how this team's going to work out. But we'll get some flex points out of Kyle Pitts, Kincaid, and Hawkinson. We have 5 decent receivers, and then Judy might be one of the best values on the board now if he does get to Miami in theory. Running back has Taylor, Hampton, and Kyron. I can get away with just 4, I think. The question is, do I stop at 6 receivers or do I take a 7th? We're absolutely taking a 4th running back, but can I afford the 5th one? Can I do a 4-5-6-3 or do I have to do a 4-4-7-3? This is a weird team. Very strange team. But Young Mulas says, fuck the Patriots. NFL office started their climb with the fucking tuck rule. Never shoulda. Classic Raider fan. Still quoting the tuck rule. Raiders for life. AMC says GAB must be Raiders. Yep. You knew it. You knew it. He's from Oakland. Oakland, just win. Just win, baby. Or from campus, Malik and Malik have excellent chemistry. The double Malik W always had a nice ring to it. But the thing about Malik Washington, he's not going to drop touchdowns in a big way. Like, even if he catches like 6 receptions per week, it's like maybe 2 or 3 touchdowns on the year. I don't think it's a good pick. I don't love it. But yeah, we did get pretty unique. I don't know how much it helps me though. But that's a crazy fall on Bryce Young. That's 3 full rounds on Bryce Young there. But did I totally need it? I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Damn it. Keenan went. I definitely wanted Keenan to stack with Daniel Jones. Damn it, Burgess. Damn it. If anything, that's a sign I need a 5th running back, perhaps. But running back, they all kind of suck down here. But Justice Hill should probably catch some passes. I think I'm going to go Justice Hill. Because Sean Tucker feels pretty worthless in this format. Mike Washington just straight up handcuff appeal, but Justice Hill can catch like... He can have a 6 reception game on occasion. All right, this is the decision. Running back 4 was an easy choice. Definitely needed it. Do I need wide receiver 7 when I have Higgins, DJ Moore, Harrison, Godwin, Pittman, and Judy? I might. It probably helps me more than any of the running backs this late, unless they just like hit the lineup and are the starter for a significant time. But Taylor, Hampton, and Kyron, I'm just going to trust that. Fuck it. We'll go with receiver with our last pick. Minnesota, Indianapolis, Pittsburgh, and Carolina are my stacking options. Nothing too exciting. We could go Chris Brazzell, but gross. They're all so bad. I think I'll mix in a Rashad Bateman. Fuck it. The Ravens receiver too is going to have some value. The Ravens offense going to be pivoting a little bit more towards the passing game as Lamar gets older every year. So maybe it's still Bateman who's the man. But that pick, I really didn't know where to go. That pick, I was really at my wit's end. Probably needed a running back, but we're just trusting Taylor, Hampton, and Kyron, basically. Justice Hill. That's pretty funny. Okay, I don't know if I don't feel good about this team, but it's very interesting. It could maybe make it work. If you told me the top 3 running backs stay healthy, I think I'm gonna be fine. But very odd roster. but we wait until Kyler to grab our first. He was unstacked at that moment. We have him with TJ Hawkinson. I have Daniel Jones with Jonathan Taylor. I intended to stack him with Keenan, but didn't get the chance. Aaron Rodgers stacked with Michael Pittman. That's pretty dope. Bryce Young, though, unstacked, but what is this? 25 picks past ADP. That is pretty crazy. A full 2+ rounds on Bryce Young. Jonathan Taylor holding it down with Hampton and Kyron. Took them in the first 4 rounds. We got Justice Hill in round 17. All right. I know, right? What if Justice Hill is who I need? We'll find out. I doubt it, but what if? Derrick Henry is pretty old. T. Higgins, though, with the Justice Hill bring back is definitely the combo you need. DJ Moore, valuable for what this roster was looking like. Kind of a clutch pick, but could be less valuable than expected. But expecting a lot of volume for DJ Moore. Marvin Harrison probably gets a lot of volume, but might do kind of nothing with it. Chris Godwin, going to be more of a PPR play than than half PPR, in my opinion. I worry a little bit sometimes about Chris Godwin's usage for touchdowns. If they're not like in goal-to-go situations, he's usually not getting those like 30, 40-yard passes like Igbuka and McMillan that Baker likes to throw for touchdowns. But Michael Pittman, I think, is perfect for this format, and with the stack, it's definitely a justified pick. But Jerry Jeudy hopefully is the savior by getting traded, and that's an interesting call. Atlanta, probably the most likely scenario, but a man can dream that he's the receiver 1 in Miami. Rashad Bateman, though, starting to really get desperate with this pick. But who knows? Maybe his historical production comes back around. He does get paid enough to see what he's got, but the drafting of Surratt and Jacoby Lane might be an issue. Kyle Pitts, though, makes this tight end room very, very high upside with Kincaid as well. Feels good. And then the stack on TJ Hawkinson, kind of worthless, but in full PPR, much more valuable. Last year, TJ Hawkinson, coming off the injury, let's see. I think you have to put the dots. Hawkinson had 66 targets last year. That's not as much as I would have thought, actually. I would have assumed it was much more. For some reason, I thought it was closer to 80, but a few years ago, he had 127, 129. What if he bounces back up to like 90 targets? What if he just splits it in half? He has 95 targets this year. A man can dream, but that pick felt pretty misguided, honestly. This is probably where it started to come off the tracks. The Hawkinson pull-up at 153 was a bit wild, but yeah, back in the civil rights era, he was a great pick. All right, let's take a look at who's in this lobby, who's a team, who gets a team review as a member. We have Zero in this lobby, Hartman in this lobby, Burgess in this lobby, Underdogs Anonymous is in this lobby, and then I think Amped Phil is also a member. If I don't recall every single name, let me know in the chat. I'm not sure if Air Jeff is also a member. He might be, but I'm not totally sure. I don't think so. I'm trying to remember correctly, but yeah, like I said, if I missed you and you are a member of the Blunt Rotation, please leave a comment. That way I can see your username in green and I'll know you get a team review. Just let me know which team you had in this lobby. But we're going to start on this side of the board with pick 12 and work our way back. A-Rod had Dak Prescott, Tyler Shuck, and Geno Smith. It's fine. Geno over Bryce Young is pretty crazy to me, though. James Cook, Javonte Williams, Rico Dowdle, Tank Bigsby, and Samaje Perine. That checks out. That's totally fine. Samaje, I never take, but nobody ever drafts the Bengals handcuff, and if I had to guess, it's Taj Brooks, but maybe it's still Samaje. Maybe, just maybe. You also have CeeDee Lamb, Garrett Wilson, Roma Dunze, Jordan Tyson, Rashid Shaheed, Ryan Flournoy, and Darius Slayton. The Slayton selection is interesting. Harold Fannin, Isaiah Likely, and Dalton Schultz. Pretty decent. Tight end room is definitely checking out. Receiver's fine. Don't have much issue with receiver. Slayton is a little odd, but I've definitely taken him as well. So it's viable. It's fine. Quarterback is stacked up decently well, so no issue there. Yeah, this is a balanced team. Pretty solid. No major complaints. Running back might not be elite, but you have Bigsby, so you're winning. At pick 180 as well is pretty solid. That's pretty sweet. But in full PPR, maybe not as much. Who knows? But he'll still be usable if Saquon does go down. Slayton for the week 17 bring back. Gotcha. Yes, BC Rock. The fast puppy is next. So Cameron, we will do one more after this. Thanks for popping in. Love to hear it, Cameron. Love to hear it. But if you want to support the channel, become a member down below. $4.99 a month gets you all the team reviews. And during the season, when I go live, sometimes I'm doing a broadcast, and I will also limit the chat to strictly members only this year. Gonna have to accommodate the members in multiple ways. You also get my waiver wire picks as a member during the season. But, okay, we had Burgess in this one again. Lawrence and Malik Willis. That's interesting. This team could have used Bryce Young, not going to lie. At pick 180, you didn't want Bryce Young? Cam Scatterbo, Tony Pollard, Rashad White, J.K. Dobbins, and Tyjae Spears. Pretty interesting running back room. The Rashad White pick is pretty valuable. Dobbins is less or so, especially in full PPR. Tyjae is interesting, though, for sure. The double Tennessee kind of caps the upside, but not terrible. Scatterbo, an excellent pick. Amon-Ra, Drake London. Carnell Tate should see a shit ton of volume. Travis Hunter, Jalen Tolbert, Darnell Mooney, Keenan Allen, and Kayshon Boutte. You couldn't have just left me Keenan Allen, bro. I respect it. But your calling card, your stamp of approval, Jalen Tolbert at 164 this time. 164. You're a man of principle. It's not what I would do. I'd rather bet on Jerry Jeudy, who isn't even on the team. But Jalen Tolbert, good luck. McBride, Kraft, and Freiermuth in this one. That's interesting. That is interesting. So only 2 quarterbacks. You are allowed to have the excess elsewhere. Good luck at quarterback, because I do worry about that a little bit with those two. But running back is fine. Receiver is good. I wouldn't say it's elite. Tight end, though, is elite. Tight end is undoubtedly elite, especially in full PPR. But Kraft actually loses some value in full PPR. He was more of a touchdown guy and yards after the catch. Not as much volume. So it loses a little value in full PPR. Pretty good team, though. Quarterback will be your Achilles heel. If you can survive quarterback, you're in business, but I would worry about it a little bit. Lawrence, though, has a phenomenal playoff schedule. I will say that. Trevor Lawrence, especially week 17 against the Commanders, probably going off. Hartman in here with Lamar and Burrow getting that bring back. And Burrow at 75, very solid. With Jamar Chase, so pushed it to round 7. Excellent play from Hartman. Swift, Jadarian Price, Jonathan Brooks, Sampson, Blue, and Connor. Very legit. No issue with that. Sampson in this contest, way more valuable. Brooks, also going to catch a lot of passes, I think. Price, I'm not so sure. But Swift, definitely. So the running back room is good. And then Blue and Connor, worth betting on, despite some risk. Jamar Chase, Nico Collins, Zay Flowers, Alec Pierce at 94 is pretty valuable, even in full PPR. Concepcion, Stribling, and Surratt. Pretty good team here from Hartman. Elite top 3 receivers. You also have Kelsey for the volume. Andrews at 142. That's pretty interesting. And then Strange at 147. Very fun tight end room. The 2 old men and then Brenton Strange should be decent. Andrews isn't as old as he sounds. Andrews is actually still like 31. It's not that big of a deal. That's like my age. So good team, Hartman. Elite at QB, good depth at running back. Maybe not elite in that regard, but very good depth. And then receivers, fantastic. Top heavy, but really good. Tight end is also very, very valuable for who you have. So good team, Hartman. Let's also look at 0 and then move on. Drake May at 71. Love that for you. Caleb Williams at 74. We drafted a team like this in the last one. Mahomes at 95. So you just got a little indulgent. 3 elite quarterbacks. No issue with that. But Bijan, Brees Hall, you took Jordan Mason, who is worthless in terms of receiving value, but could just be the man in Minnesota. So at 122, it's probably fine, but less valuable in full PPR. Woody Marks, not as many receptions as I would have expected last year, but probably more involved in that this season. And then Pacheco at 167, a 15-pick fall is fine. But Rashi Rice, Luther Burden, Adams, and Worthy, the double stack with Mahomes, a stack with Burden. You do have Hunter Henry stacked with Drake May, the bring back on Evan Ingram. He had a lot of receptions last year. Sneaky good in full PPR. And Njoku, who might actually be the more valuable Chargers tight end. It is possible. But you also took Golden, Worthy, Adonai Mitchell, and Ridley. Very good team from 0. No doubt about it. This one's a very good team. Quarterback's amazing. Tight end is actually valuable for the sake of the contest, despite waiting forever and having Evan Ingram. Actually fairly valuable. And then receiver is very well built. A.D. Mitchell, a pretty worthless pick, but maybe I'm wrong about that. And then Ridley, also a trade candidate, just like Jerry Jeudy. Could be moving up the board significantly if it happens. So good team 0. Definitely one of the tougher teams to beat. At least that we saw in the reviews. But maybe running back burns you. Maybe Brees is just dog shit, but in full PPR, he's way better. And then maybe Mason never gets going. He needs a lot of touchdowns to be valuable to you. So good luck, though. It checks out for sure. It's a good team. All right. Last draft of the afternoon. And I don't have the music on, so definitely want to play that for our last one. Let me catch up with the chat real quick. Save the best for last. Sharp. If you say so, 0. If you say so. Let me scroll up. Quincy says, I'll be sniping in the fast puppy. Let me get it set. Let me catch up with the chat, and then we'll enter. Uh-oh. Sniping announced ahead of time. Good grief. We'll be fine. We'll be fine with that. Draft room, not going to lose its integrity on its own. I'm taking a quarterback in the 4th then. Looks like Lamar coming off the board early if Young Moolah's in it. Tolbert better in full PPR. I have no idea what to make of Tolbert. I think Tolbert's still a bad pick, honestly. Huge Tolbert 164 pull-up. Tolbert for the win. Burgess loves taking Tolbert. Jags versus Houston week 15, not a good matchup. Okay, at least that one's bad, but the Commanders is going to be excellent. That one is undoubtedly one of the best, and it's in week 17, so should be awesome. But Drew thinks Hartman cooked. Hartman had a great team. Malik Willis revenge game week 15. Good luck with that. Jags usually score versus the Texans. Sometimes, but on paper, it's not ideal. That's for sure. Texans got lit up by Riley Leonard, Alec Pierce stack. Did they? That's kind of hard to believe. But you're welcome, 0. 0 has a good team. Yawn, what's new? Got my Barrett 50 caliber ready for this puppy. Good luck in this one. I usually like 0's teams, but too much DC and quarterback on that one, in my opinion. It's possible he overspent at quarterback. That is one of the few factors, but it's a luxury. It's not a bad problem to have typically. That's a fair statement. Sometimes it feels weak, but it should be fine. Yeah, this is probably a pretty solid take. All right, let's draft. We're entering the fast puppy. Let me close the poll. The poll is still pretty close, despite the votes saying that wins the poll. There's enough votes for other people that also wanted this. I told you at the beginning, we're drafting in all 3 today, and this is the 3rd one. So We're joining the Fast Puppy. If you want to join us as well, click it soon. We're starting in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Insta-fill. And I will say that was kind of a slower paced 10 seconds than other times. But we're back in the half PPR contest. So adjusting my strategy back to normal. Burgess is in here at the 101, right next to Zero at the 102. On Ness at the 103. Uzi Goated at the 104. Alexi Soul at the 105, J-Lup at 106, Jagger 87 at the 7. Danimal is in the house. Yo, what's up, Danimal? Good to see ya. We got Uzi finally in this one. Quincy is in at pick 9. You're to Buckeye? TA Buckeye? Is that you, Quincy? I feel like that might be someone else, but I could be wrong. I'll take your word for it. But Jimmy Thor Hendricks at pick 10, and then R. Houston 13 at pick 11. But yeah, that's what I thought. B. Croc missed it, but pulled the 101. Good luck in that one. Quincy Jones is with Young Moolah. Good luck in the overflow. But yeah, Danimal in the house. What's up? Let's do it. Danimal gets a team review. A member of the Blunt Rotation. And Zero's in both. Yeah, that's how Zero gets in everyone. That's how he has the green badge. He just drafts a shit ton, regardless. But all right, let me take a rip. I think it's time. Okay, let's ride, Maximums. Thought you were calling me like Maximus from Gladiator or something, but yeah, that's the way Zero does it. Drafts multiple at once. Uzi, I have so much Puka this year, I always get spot 4. That doesn't feel like the best spot to have, not because of Puka, but because of rounds 2 and 3 being very clearly like wide receiver values over everything else, and it doesn't feel great to start off with 3 straight receivers. So hopefully for you can mix in Bowers. We'll see what happens. But Genty is here. I'll take Genty on this one. And then fuck it. I'll just stick with ADP. I'll go Genty and Saquon. Why not? I have a lot of Genty Hampton. Today I'll go Genty Saquon. I've been mixing in more Saquon lately. I don't want to be completely burned by having none of him. And although I started the summer at like 4% desired exposure, I have so much Tank Bigsby. I've been trying to take a little bit less lately. And once you start talking yourself out of Bigsby, then you start talking yourself back in on Saquon Barkley. So I like the Eagles' offense. It's pretty consolidated. It's pretty obvious where the ball's going to go. Saquon has the highest contract among all running backs. So there's a world where he pays off as a top 5 pick. That's definitely possible. So as much as I love Tank Bigsby, I just love that backfield. And while Saquon wasn't anywhere near as productive last season as the year prior, that was always going to be impossible to repeat. And the coaching staff was pretty brutal last season. I think with Patullo gone, Saquon should bounce back, at least in a decent way. He's still scoring a shit ton of touchdowns. No doubt about it. He's going to find the end zone pretty consistently. So Genty and Saquon, definitely very talented at the position. Out of the 12 slot, I don't mind it. But Jimmy Hendricks pulled up George Pickens with CeeDee Lamb, setting up the double with Dak Prescott, I see. But Zero likes drafting in streamed plus overflow. Gets my blood flowing. Does it overflow? Zero? Is your blood not only streaming, but also overflowing with excitement? That would track. That would make sense. But your boy AJ Brown almost made it back to you at 22. He does not. But anything odd in this lobby so far? Not really, other than James Cook at pick 8. But we know that Danimal likes to get a little bit different. I know he likes James Cook. He pairs him with Hampton at 8 and 17. That's pretty clutch. That's pretty dope. Both have a week 7 bye, so a reminder to you, Danimal, look out for week 7 at running back specifically. I wouldn't worry about it on the other positions unless you overstack it as well, but if you only draft 5 running backs and 3 of them have a week 7 bye, let's say your third RB is Rachaad White, that could be a little unfortunate with a really down week. One terrible week could cost you. That is a factor. You do have to survive all 14 weeks. But I'm sure the overflow draft is also stacked. This one has a few randos in it. Definitely some names I don't recognize in this one, but plenty of names I do recognize as well. Even R. Houston, I think might be watching, actually. I think we've drafted with R. Houston before. But does have a yellow badge, probably does a lot of volume. Could just be a coincidence. Quincy says Chase Brown went at the 108 in the overflow draft as well. All right, so pick 8 seems to be where people are getting different. Chase Brown at 108, though, is kind of wild. It's not the most unjustifiable thing, but only in full PPR would I consider it. All right, Zay Flowers made it back to be at 36. Let's go. I will gladly take Zay Flowers at 36 on this one. Happily gonna do that. Maybe we get Lamar potentially, but Flowers for sure. And then I think I'll just stick with it. Top ADP, nothing crazy. With all 4 picks so far, I've just taken top ADP. But the thing about having pick 12, you're either gifted some type of ADP value or you're not. And typically at pick 12, I think whatever falls back to you should be something that you take, because then you open the door that it gets to somebody else in the next round, and then it's a really tremendous value. So at least one of the picks, if you can take when you're at the bookend, being a falling value, I think you should just scoop it up. And then if like structurally it doesn't make sense to take 2 of those picks, then mix it up and take whoever you want. But I definitely like Ladd McConkey. I've taken him in the 3rd plenty of times. And this lobby favored Kyron Williams. It favored Travis Etienne. It favored Egbuka and Javonte Williams. And then even Josh Allen went in the 3rd round. So Zay Flowers, 36. Love to see it. I'm pretty happy with that. I have no idea if Lamar makes it back, but if he does, I will happily take Lamar at pick 60. Are we getting freaky in there? I think you're in the overflow, so I can't verify. But, yeah, Tolbert going to go in the 130s soon. With Burgess in here, if I had to guess, Burgess will take him at 145 this time. Either 145 or 168. We'll see Jalen Tolbert off the board. It's probably 168. Probably around 14 or 15. If Donald come out of retirement, I'm kind of off of Puka more because they may legitimately not let anyone score and could be ahead every game. I wouldn't really worry about that too much. I still think Stafford is going to throw it a lot. He won the MVP, so maybe he doesn't throw it as much and just tries to stay healthy. But they can definitely win a lot more on defense this year. So I understand a minor concern, but based on the other targets in the system and how Stafford has elevated receivers in the past, I still think you have to take Puka there at pick 4. I think you have to. Perfect flow. Good to see that. Anthony says, aloha, Adam. Dang, late to the party. No worries, bro. No worries. We're chilling. It's always fine. But appreciate y'all for watching. We're at 42 likes on today's video, so grateful for that. And if you haven't done so, if you're enjoying the content, consider becoming a subscriber. Very easy way to support the channel. If you love what I do and want to support it even more, you can become a member of the Blunt Rotation, and you get a team review anytime you're drafting with me, as well as some exclusive content throughout the year. Not the most consistent schedule in terms of that, but there will definitely be weekly members only content available during the season. That I can promise. All the waiver wire videos available for members only. But the 3-hole is pissing. The 3-hole took Jamar, AJ Brown, Trey McBride, Luther Burden, JMO. No running backs yet, but the receiver room is pretty amazing. With Trey McBride, that team's pretty odd and unique. But is Houston going to let me have it? Is Houston? Yeah, he does. Houston lets Lamar Jackson make it back at pick 60. Insta-click with Zay Flowers. Fuck yeah. This is a good team. My ranks are different than the ADP, though. I don't think I really want a running back here. I don't really want Jadarian Price, so I think I'm just going to grab Rome Odunze. I think I trust Rome a little bit more than BTJ, because it's such a less crowded offense than the Jacksonville Jaguars are. I will take Rome. And who knows, maybe even Caleb Williams falls all the way back. I've seen it happen where you do get Caleb in the 80s, but who knows? I probably wouldn't expect it. Burgess has Loveland, so he's on the opposite side of the board. He also has Swift, so might do it, but he might just not like Caleb. He can also take Jalen Hurts in theory, so we'll see what he does. And then otherwise, it's just the team at 3 that has Luther Burden. Those are the only other Chicago Bears teams. What if Caleb makes it back at 84? Wouldn't that be something? I doubt it, but a man can dream. It was Burgess with the Chase Brown pick. That was in the last one. That was full PPR at least. And that was at 11. That was also a little bit different than pick 8. But yeah, if you're going to snipe Burgess, it's got to be in the 5th round. You got to go big or go home if that's what you're trying to do. If I was Houston, Lamar wouldn't have made it back. Well, I'm grateful you are not, Quincy. I'm grateful you're not. At least Team 11 had Josh Allen. At least there was one reason to pass, because you already had someone that you spent a shit ton on. But Burrow went unstacked at 57. That's ridiculous. Team 9, I don't know what the fuck they're doing with Burrow at 57. That's fucking crazy. There's no reason to do that. And then Alec Pierce at 64. There is no reason to do either of those. Buckeye, I don't think knows the board well enough to capitalize. Because if you know the board, you know that Alec Pierce is someone you can get at 88 these days. So to take him at 64 is pretty odd right now. But Burgess, not interested in receiver values. Has no desire for that position, basically. Goes Gibbs, Love. He did take Devontae Smith, but then Swift, Loveland, Caleb, and Tucker Kraft. The Kraft selection also committing to bully tight end. Unique strategy from Burgess. I don't mind it. Receiver can always kind of come together late, but to only have 1 through 7 rounds is definitely a choice. We'll see how it works out. Jaden Reed off the board. Quentin Johnston goes, I didn't want to jinx it, but I was actually like, holy shit, am I going to get Quentin Johnston and Justin Herbert at pick 84, 85? I don't think I'm getting sniped here because if Houston is paying attention, Allen and Herbert have the same bye week. So I don't think he's taking Herbert. Fuck yeah. Wow. Pollard fell to 83. Holy shit. If I had one of those two, I would have been so ecstatic. But we still get Herbert. I'm very happy about it. I have Ladd, a Lamar Jackson, Justin Herbert team. That feels excellent. That is awesome. So give me Herbert here. And then Some of you guys might not like this, but I legitimately have started to believe that Ricky Pearsall is worth pulling up. We did it in the last one. Oh no, we took Pittman in the last one in full PPR, but I'm going to send it. I'm going to take Ricky Pearsall. I'm going to do it. I believe the breakout is going to happen. So I have, what is this? 3 year 3 wideouts. Ladd, Rome, and Ricky Pearsall. Fun team. Ashton Genty, Saquon Barkley, quarterback Lamar Jackson stacked with Zay Flowers, Justin Herbert stacked with Ladd McConkey, and then we also have Rome Odunze and Ricky Pearsall. This is a fun team. Once again, liking this team. And I think I get a little different by taking Ricky Pearsall here. I have seen him on occasion fall to the 108, 109 draft position, but it's really just the injury risk why you wouldn't take him. I think if we apply the same logic as like just drafting Kyle Shanahan receivers every year, there's no way that he's falling to pick 100 most of the time. Usually not going to happen, but Young Moolah says Lamar went 44 in the underflow. I make him jump high. They scared. Well, I'm glad I'm in this lobby, not that one. All right, let's count our blessings though, because this is a pretty sweet team. Also, the fact that San Francisco got 3 new receivers on the team. Yeah, there's also this, like, are they all going to work out? We know Evans is going to work out. It's just a question of how many games does he play. But is Stribling going to work out? I wouldn't say that's a guarantee. Shanahan, I want to trust, but everyone thinks that they overdrafted Stribling. So just to prove people wrong and get him on the field, they might use him a lot, but I'm not afraid of him. And then Christian Kirk plays a very specific role, was injured a lot last year, and could just be kind of washed as well. No one's even drafting Christian Kirk, so it's just like George Kittle and Christian McCaffrey getting a lot of targets as well that poses a problem. But a team that only has 4 players catching the ball, that's usually fine with every other logical statement. So the big discount on Pearsall versus Evans, I think, is a little too wide. But damn, this team would have been insane had I gotten Quentin Johnston or Tony Pollard at 84 and 85. Like, it was pretty crazy that QJ and Tony Pollard fell that far, especially Pollard, given the running back market. So would have been awesome had I gotten them, but it just didn't happen. We took Herbert and then Ricky P. It's all good, but Laporta almost made it back. That would have been fun. That would have been really nice. The ADP has Dobbins falling right now. Someone took Golden ahead of him. I do not need quarterback. That's usually the pocket of the draft where it's most valuable here, but I don't have any stacking partners. I think I'll just take Dobbins. Why not? And then I think I might also just grab another running back in like Kenny Gainwell. I like both of them a lot here. The 11 pick discount on Dobbins, a full round, pretty sweet. And then the question is, do I take RB4? I think so, just because I know that tight end has really good picks at the next turn. Unless I get sniped on everyone. No one can really replicate Kenny Gainwell the rest of the way. So yeah, I'll just... Oh, fuck. I just set up a massive bye week situation. For a second, I thought I had all 4 with the same bye week. But Saquon is week 10, Dobbins is week 10, and then Kenny Gainwell is also week 10. The bye week might be an issue at running back. I may have burned myself a little bit, but it's very unique to get both Dobbins and Gainwell. That's not really happening too often, so it's fine. It's whatever, but yeah, the bye week bros can leave. It's all right. They drafted Stribling as a middle finger to Ayuk. Yeah. No, that's a very good point, A-Rod. Absolutely. They definitely did that. Ricky was the middle figure to Ayuk, to be fair. They kind of started with that, but it was always kind of like, we're still willing to pay. Like, they drafted Ricky Pearsall, and then they paid Ayuk still. So I think the Stribling pick was definitely like another... They've been sending multiple middle fingers to Ayuk over the years. They kind of all represent big middle fingers. The Juwan Jennings breakout was another middle finger. But they got rid of Debo, capitulated to Ayuk. Ayuk kind of pulled the strings for a while. They let Ayuk's ego get very inflated. But yeah, Stribling was definitely the double down, the second middle finger for sure. Raiders play Seahawks week 10. That's not good. That's not good for Genty week 10. Could definitely be better. Or the double bird, as Bubbles from Trailer Park Boys would say. Flipping him the bird. Flipping him the double bird. Am I on Underdog? Yes, we are definitely on Underdog. Romeo Dobbs, again, goes at 125 in this one. That's where he went in the last draft, also behind ADP. So let's recap the team, remind you how it went so far. We got Lamar stacked up with Flowers. We got Justin Herbert stacked up with Ladd. I have Ashton Genty and Saquon Barkley, but I will have 3 running backs on bye week 10 because I took Dobbins around past ADP and Kenneth Gainwell on the same team. The Eagles, Broncos, and Bucks have the same bye week. It is what it is, but receiver room looks pretty decent. Flowers, Ladd, Rome Odunze, and Ricky Pearsall. We'll need some more, but so far we're chilling. So far, we're in good shape. But our Houston has Fannin and Kittle, so if I had to guess, he's not drafting a tight end with his next pick. So if Jimmy the Hendricks doesn't take one here, I'll have my choice of the litter. Andrews is probably one of the picks, given I have Lamar, though. What does Jimmy do? He goes JCM, not where I was going to go at all. So Shakir gets taken. I have Lamar, so I will go Andrews. And then the question is, do I just take C-Rod? Let's take a look at who C-Rod is playing week 10. I have all 40 seconds. I'll queue up Andrews and then use my timer to make the choice. Chris Rodriguez and the Jacksonville Jaguars are at Tennessee. At Tennessee. The Chargers are at Baltimore. I probably should have taken Keaton Mitchell, actually. The Chargers were at the Ravens. Keaton Mitchell revenge game. I should have taken Keaton Mitchell there. But Chris Rodriguez, I think, is really valuable in the 10th round. So to get him in the 12th, right before training camp starts, when he's probably going to be much healthier than people think. I'll just draft my 5th running back. We get someone that's definitely usable in week 10. And it's not the worst matchup. The Jags at the Titans should be a fine spot for him. Okay, I think I'm done at quarterback on this team. We're still going to have other options for tight ends later, but we're also done at running back on this team. So it's just tight end and wideout the rest of the way. The 2-5-4-1 so far feels pretty competitive. I like this team a lot. Not gonna lie, this team feels really, really interesting. And maybe I have like too much firepower at running back. It might actually cost me a little bit, but I don't think I overspent at quarterback at all, especially if I stop with these two. You can never really overspend at tight end when you push it, but you can always push it pretty far. So the Andrews stacked feels pretty solid. And then I'm hitting flex pretty consistently with my running back points. So a 2-5 2.583. I think will fit the bill. Yeah, a 2.583 should be fine with that. Ryan says, "Yo, if you're gonna do a $5 call the lobby out, I'm not a sniper. LOL. I have my own strategies." I believe we counted this down. I also, I think I mentioned everyone's team, so I'm pretty sure I shouted out the entire lobby in this one. Maybe you're in the overflow or something. A-Rod says, "Zero, how often do you take mega stacks in general? I've been doing it a lot lately and feel like I should ease up and get a stack and bring back or two instead." The mega stacks, you probably don't want more than like 4 players on the same team. So I might draft one more Ravens receiver, but that's probably going to be it for me on that. Trey Tucker made it back. And then Gadsden's also here. So I think that's what I'm going to do. Get the stack with Herbert. And then the receiver, I think, is the worst. Is the best. Yeah, we'll go with Trey Tucker over Trey Harris. All right, this team is coming together quite nicely. I'm liking it. We got the receiver 1 stacked up with both quarterbacks. We got the tight end stacked up with both quarterbacks. And then we just got Trey Tucker at 157. Our running back room is pretty fun. And I do think we're going to salvage week 10. But quarterback's fucking lit. And then receivers coming together. Sweet. Yeah, that Ravens-Chargers bring back, I kind of wish I took Keaton, honestly. But having Chris Rodriguez still available, to look back on it in hindsight, I think that actually would have been like blasphemous for me to take Chris Rodriguez over Keaton Mitchell. Chris Rodriguez, I think, is going to be a much better value than Keaton Mitchell. I could be wrong about that, but I'm open to being incorrect. At the very least, Rodriguez falling to 133 is like the lowest price you can get on him, whereas Keaton Mitchell might fall into the 140s pretty soon. He's not moving up into the 110s like Rodriguez was at one point in time. But Zero says, "Depends on the cost. The Chiefs mega stack is the cheapest it's ever been, so I like it." Yeah, the Chiefs feel very easy to acquire, way too inexpensive in years prior compared to this season. The Cowboys too expensive? ? Probably my top 3 most mega stack. Cowboys are a little expensive, but the Cowboys make a lot of sense. As long as Dak stays healthy, it's worth it. But I don't think I would force the Javonte Williams ad if, let's say, I took CeeDee Lamb and then Pickens in the second. But Zero kind of agrees, too expensive. Uzi, one more draft perhaps? I don't think so. I got some other things to do. Got some plans later on. And at this point, for the sake of the budget, I don't think I'm going to be able to draft a 4th team as often as I once did. But maybe later this week we do a little draft marathon. Maybe we do like a 4-hour stream. Let's see. Right now we're going on 2 hours and 23 minutes. I think this is the last draft of the afternoon. But no worries, Ryan. All good. Mega stacks will hurt on their bye week. That is a factor. Yeah, you have even more players on bye, but as long as they're spread out across different positions, I don't think it's that big of a deal. Is stacking bye weeks a bad move? Depends on the position. I think at receiver, you probably always get away with it unless you have like 5 out of 8 bye weeks in the same spot. At running back, it can get tricky. Like, I just drafted 3 of them, and that's kind of the most I'm willing to tolerate. And then if you told me that instead of Chris Rodriguez, I had like, I don't know, Dylan Sampson, I would feel really, really brutal in week 10 with those 3 bagels. So there are ways to get away with it. And then there are positions where it's more punitive. I think if there's one, you shouldn't worry about it too much. It's tight end. Especially if you draft a 3rd, it's always going to be fine. But I'll go Terrence Ferguson on this one, I think. Get some really high upside. But I'm going to go Jerry Jeudy first. Wow. I can't believe Jerry Jeudy is going to become one of my most drafted players, but I'm really talking myself into the trade argument. And I had 0% up until this week. So I'm catching up a little bit. That's mainly what it is. I'm mostly just catching up. But yeah, fuck it. I'll go Terrence Ferguson. Very high upside with T-Ferg. High yards per route run, yards per target, air yards for T-Ferg. Depth of target was like the highest in the NFL at the position by a wide margin. So very interesting skill set. We know Davis Maddock is a fan, but I loved Terrence Ferguson last year too. I drafted him in round 18 at, I believe, like a 10% clip. I took T-Ferg a lot last year. Always my preferred breakout candidate. I did not draft any Colby Parkinson. I took a lot of Terrence Ferguson instead. So this year should be even better. And we have 2 more picks. So that third tight end, definitely part of the plan. I think we'll double tap receiver at the next turn. And call it done. But, Sladen says, off to work. Thanks for the surprise Friday pop-up. Today is Saturday, brother, but I guess yesterday we were also kind of surprise drafting. But you're welcome, brother. On the weekend, as always, it's a little bit more random of a schedule on the weekend. I usually go up earlier in the day on the weekend. But Zero says, bye weeks don't matter, brother. If the team smashes, they'll make up that 1 week over the course of the other 13 weeks anyways. I do think having only 2 quarterbacks and they both have the same bye is possibly enough to cost you. There is a world where that is bad. Losing like 20, 25 points at quarterback could be the difference. Because sometimes second and third place is very, very close. But if you earn first place, it's not going to be an issue at all. If your team is that good where you get first, then don't worry about it. But the nuance between second and third sometimes becomes a factor. You might miss maybe an extra 10% of the time because of the bye week blunder if the team was fighting for second or third. Sometimes they do get really close between those spots. But Zero says, I made up 50 to 80 points in 1 week, let alone over the course of 13 other weeks. Sometimes, though, the final score is like second place has only like 2 or 3 more points than third. It's not that big of a deal, though. I agree. In general, it's not that big of a deal, but it's a little relevant. Josh says, I like your team. Would have rather had Boston over Tucker just for the upside, but Gadsden with the last pick in the 13th is awesome. Yeah, the Gadsden fall stacked up with Herbert was very, very valuable. I would agree. That one felt really nice. There is a world where Njoku is more valuable, though, but I think they're going to give Gadsden the chance to really earn the job and cement his position in the offense. He was great last year. He can't block, though, so that's a key part of his development. That's what they brought in Charlie Kolar for. But maybe Gadsden gets hurt and Njoku just crushes. But at this point in time, I'd still rather bet on Gadsden. Devin says, can you answer a dynasty question for me? Superflex 1 PPR 12-man. I can try in the context that I don't play Dynasty. I'll try to give you my best shot. But I feel like I've been getting better at the Dynasty questions the more I've gotten them. So if you'd like to shoot it my way, go for it. Go for it. But A-Rod says, even if Jeudy doesn't get traded, he's going to get on the field. He won't be a zero. Yeah, that's another aspect of it where I do think he gets on the field a little bit more than Calvin Ridley does. And I think if someone was going to trade for him, he's a little bit more appealing than Calvin Ridley as well. So he's pretty compelling. I'm going to go Surratt here as the mega stack with Lamar. I'm willing to do that. We took Rashad on the last one. So if I was going to go differently, it'd be Jacoby Lane. But let's get a rookie. I feel pretty solid about Surratt in his rookie season. And then I could go Keenan. I could get the bring back with Tyquan. I don't have a Bengal, though. That could be an interesting bring back. But running out of time, I'm actually going to go Malachi Fields. We're going to go with another rookie, and the Giants' offense is definitely up for grabs. There should be a lot of targets there where we're just not really sure where they're going to go. And while I've talked myself into Slayton at times, I've also drafted Darnell Mooney. I've been a little bit slow to take Malachi Fields, and I think mixing up all of the Giants' receiving core in round 18 is a solid strategy. I'm willing to be like 4 or 5% on all three of them. Fields is the rookie, could definitely break out. If he gets positive camp reports, he probably moves up the board quickly because the Giants' offense is pretty valuable right now. We only draft Neighbors and Scatabo, and then Isaiah Likely and Jackson Dart. Nobody else, but we all know Neighbors is missing time. So the receiving core over there has some upside. Let's go Fields today, just because I want a rookie. The team in totality has some very high upside. We got Lamar Jackson at 60, fucking clutch. Herbert at 84. They're both stacked up with multiple pieces, both wide receiver 1 and tight end. We also took Surratt with Lamar, but Genty and Saquon feels fantastic. And if Saquon does go down, does miss some time, we have really good values later. We got Dobbins, we got Kenny Gainwell, Chris Rodriguez, and this running back room is phenomenal. No issue with it. If anything, maybe I'm going to have too many points on the bench just because it's so good. But receiver has Flowers at a big value. Ladd at 37, also a little discount. Roma Dunze, Ricky Pearsall. I believe in Ricky Pearsall a lot. Trey Tucker, Jerry Jeudy. Optimistic for Jeudy all of a sudden. And then Surratt and Malachi Fields, 2 rookies that could pop. Valuable players who should contribute year 1. But then Andrews stacks, Gadsden stacks, and then Terrence Ferguson, the year 2 breakout, high upside. Fun team. Very happy with how it worked out. I like it. We are chilling. But we got some team reviews to do. Let me remind myself who else was in this lobby. Burgess, Zero, Danimal, all getting team reviews. And then otherwise, I think the only one I really recognize is Uzi Goated, who's been trying to get in lobbies with us today. And it has been a minute since we've drafted with Uzi Goated. So I'll give you the 4th team review. I'm feeling generous, and let's do it just because it's been quite a while since we've drafted with him. He's been trying to get into the lobby all day. Let me catch up with the chat real quick, though. I've been slow the last few minutes. But, yep. Says Josh. Sladen, LOL. Me not knowing what day of the week it is just means I'm in the right place. No? Yeah, if anything, you're just faded like the rest of us. You know what? Let's take a rip for Sladen, who's off to work. Devin, follow up on the Dynasty question. Should I trade Amon-Ra and Cam Scatabo for Jeremiah Love and Carnell Tate? I have Gibbs, Rashee Rice, Devontae Smith, etc., but Scatabo just worries me with no running back depth. This is an interesting question. I think if you want to win this year, I would stand pat. I think if you're getting another draft pick, I'd be interested, but straight up, I don't think Carnell Tate versus Amon-Ra is fair. And then Scatabo versus Jeremiah Love, at least because it's Arizona, I wouldn't feel the best about it, but obviously you get the younger running back who was drafted way higher. So if you love Jeremiah Love, then go for it, but I think it's a lopsided trade. I think I would trust Cam Scatabo. I think you can get a great year out of him as value goes up. Obviously, I'm worried about him in Dynasty, but this year, I think if you're trying to win now, I would hold on Amon-Ra and Scatabo and just send it. Because I think Cam Scatabo with Gibbs is just as valuable, if not more valuable this year than Gibbs with Jeremiah Love. It's just the long-term prospect. And you'll always have a chance to trade Scatabo later. So I would hold on. I wouldn't make the trade. But I'm a much more of a win-now type of guy with my redraft bias. Good luck. Zero says, but if the field pairs same buys, less than different buys, getting to week 15 with more unique combos is a massive edge, especially when buys are overblown. Yes, if the bye week doesn't cost you, if it doesn't force you into third place when you would have gotten second, where in theory, like you were saying, you should probably just bet that you're going to get first anyways and not worry about it, then yeah, in theory, less people will take the double bye because they're afraid of it. And therefore, if you do advance, maybe you have a more unique combo. But to overthink it, to Galaxy Brain it, I don't think is that big of a deal. I think there's a minor risk you take on, and it could burn you if you double and triple down and have way too many bye weeks. There's a point when it gets a little bit too much, but in general, it's hard to ever achieve. In general, it's not a big deal. First down fantasy, severe jury sniping me left and right in the overflow. Sheesh. Good luck. The snipes are never personal. Typically, they're never personal, but if anyone else can answer my question, go ahead. Open feedback from Devin. Yeah, go for it if anyone is interested. But, yep, says First Down Fantasy. Quincy, sorry for the snipes. But Jacoby Lane is probably the better rookie. Only time will tell. I thought in terms of my, like, rookie evaluations, obviously I'm not a scout. Maybe just trust the team. They drafted Lane higher. But I felt like Jacoby Lane was a higher upside project. But Elijah Surratt was definitely more game ready week 1 of his rookie season. I think Surratt has played a little bit longer. And I think coming off of the championship season in Indiana, maybe is just a little bit more mature and just knows how to win and like contribute to a team with what it requires rather than just like what you're able to do. So I could be wrong. Look, Jacoby Lane might be better. Maybe Tez Walker is the guy you need, but it's pretty crowded in Baltimore in general. I'm willing to take a stab on any of the rookies today. We went Surratt, who I think this year will have a quicker path to playing time than Lane, but I could totally be wrong. I want all of them, not just one. Quincy, I'm just trying to survive out here. Aren't we all, brother? Aren't we all? But I know the Bryce Young one was a snipe. I probably sniped someone on Bryce Young, but they had chances to take him. It is what it is, but yeah, it's always fine. It's not that big of a deal at the end of the day, but what's up, Who Hames? Family soup to you as well. If anyone hasn't checked out Who Hames, friend of the channel, and on Tuesday we'll probably have another collab look set for you guys. What's up, Who Hames? Nice to see you. Thanks for popping in with your daily family soup. But Danimal says it's a nice team. Appreciate that, Danimal. I think it's a pretty good one. The running back room feels great. A lot of aspects feel good on that one. But Mooney getting the slot role reportedly, that could be kind of worthless, though. I don't know how I feel about Mooney this year. He's probably worth taking, though, as well. But we went Fields for a little bit more upside. Mooney has consistently gotten hurt last few seasons. Slayton shouldn't be 5% drafted. Zero disagrees. But for the unique aspect, if it's stacked with Jackson Dart, I think you can mix it in. On Best Ball, we don't trade. That was a dynasty question, that trade request. But Josh Carlini says he prefers the Love and Tate side. Yeah, the win now is the Scat Man for sure. In general, I wouldn't be trading away Amon-Ra probably. That's where you're probably giving up way too much. Yeah. Just for the vibes, keep him on the team. Yeah, I respect that, A-Rod. Best Ball on Call, I think, agrees with Zero's take. Try and get someone other than Amon-Ra off the team. Someone less valuable than Amon-Ra. For Carnell Tate, I wouldn't love that. All right, we got some team reviews, though. Burgess with Caleb and Malik Willis. Not the best, but maybe it works out if Malik runs for 1,000 yards. Jahmyr Gibbs, Jeremiah Love, Swift, Rico Dowdle, and Charbonnet. A Charbonnet team. Honestly, I don't hate it. This team, I think, can tolerate it. Strong at running back for sure. And a phenomenal value on Rico Dowdle. Rico at 97. Damn. Very good pick. Love that for you. Devontae Smith, Michael Pittman Jr., big fall off. Stephon Diggs, better fucking workout at 121. You got Shaheed at a nice fall. I'm sure you were thankful for that. Your boy Tolbert, as always, at 169. Keon Coleman at 192. That's gross. Kayshawn Booty probably deserves to be drafted, though. And then Darnell Mooney, we just mentioned. All the Giants have some value. Mooney is one of them, for sure. But Loveland, Kraft, and Goddard, so elite at tight end. The receiver depth really stinks on this one. Receiver is terrible. Overall, receiver is really gross. But maybe Diggs does work out. Maybe Pittman is the second coming of Antonio Brown. Running back feels excellent. Quarterback feels very thin, though. And one of these tight ends is always a bagel on the bench every week, if not two of them. So, yeah, the team I just think is just maybe allocated resources a little bit inappropriately. I think you need more value at receiver. But if you told me you just took like George Pickens instead of Jeremiah Love, you passed on Rashee Rice. Yeah, you should have taken Rashee Rice over Jeremiah Love. 100%, that's what I would have done differently. And I think the team would have looked way better than it currently does. But good luck at quarterback as well. This could really be a problem. It's possible. But if Caleb is the MVP, maybe you get away with it. Good luck. 0 in here at pick 2 goes T-Law, Mahomes, and Stroud. Pretty solid. No issue with that at all. David Montgomery and Bijan Robinson. Jordan Mason at 119. That's a nice fall. Jonah Coleman is gross, but at 167, it's better at least. Marshawn Lloyd, 194 is fine, but could be worthless, as always. Nico Collins, Rashee Rice, Terry McLaurin, Parker Washington, Xavier Worthy, Calvin Ridley, and Rashad Bateman. Kelsey, Strange, and Schultz. So another Mahomes mega stack. This team is very good. This team is very good. No doubt about it. We mentioned Danimal as well. Jaden Daniels, Jared Goff, and Aaron Rodgers. That's pretty sweet. James Cook, Hampton, Travis, and Scatabo. That's pretty clutch. Starting off with 4 straight running backs. Glad you stopped there. But receiver may have paid the price. You got DJ Moore holding it down. DK Metcalf stacked with Rodgers. But Michael Wilson at 89. Whoa. That's early. Jalen Coker, Deebo Samuel, Isaac Tesla, Dontavian Wicks, Cooper Kupp, and Keenan Allen. Yeah, you definitely needed 9. Cooper Kupp, I'd rather see Torrey Horton here, but it is what it is. Keenan is pretty valuable, though, on this one. Attacking it by volume, it could work. Kyle Pitts and Okonkwo, that is totally fine. Okonkwo stacks with Jaden Daniels. Tesla stacks with Goff, and then Metcalf stacks with Rodgers. Running back feels very good, very strong. So, yeah, good luck. Receiver actually is okay, but not amazing. You might make it work. Kyle Pitts needs to deliver and not suck again. But Okonkwo should score the touchdowns. At 137, though, feels high. Feels like we're drafting Okonkwo a little bit high these days. It's starting to get too expensive, in my opinion. 140s, I'm willing to take it. 137 and higher, I think I'm going to pass on Okonkwo a lot more. But lastly, we mentioned Uzi Goated. Not a member, but just for the vibes, let's review the team. A 2772 from the 4 slot. We got Jalen Hurts and Matthew Stafford. Hurts in round 7, always a nice pick. Stafford with Puka, not fucking around. It's always nice when you get him in the next round in the 10th, but in the 9th and stopping there, very valid to just do that. Breece Hall, Bishal Tootin, Aaron Jones, Pacheco, Algier, B-Rob, and Katron. So kind of gross, kind of want to makes you vomit. But you have 7, so I guess it's all right. And good luck. You'll need it, but it could work. You definitely needed 7 on this one. But receiver, the double stack with Stafford. So Stafford, definitely a good pick at 103. Puka and Adams together is not bad. But Tyson at 69, a good falling value. Addison at 93, another good falling value. Myers at 117. That's pretty sweet. Travis Hunter as well. I've been taking him more often. And then Ayuk is gross. These last 2 are really bad. Hunter with Ayuk, I'm not trying to do. 2 luxury picks. Hunter is probably worth it, but not like that often. But these top 5 receivers are pretty good, so I think you can tolerate it. But Ayuk is a really bad pick. At 189, did you like auto-click? Did you run out of time or something? You must have stepped away, because that's a bad pick, for sure. Bowers and Otton, though. With Bowers, you're in great shape. Otton is pretty mid. I would have liked a different tight end, honestly, but 10 picks pass. It's solid. He gets a lot of volume. We're fine. But who are we roasting? We're roasting Ayuk, brother. We're roasting Ayuk. All right. I think that's going to be it for the live stream. I'll close out all of the comments. But that's going to be it. Let's check if anyone else is live. There's probably got to be someone else that's live. If I can redirect y'all to their stream, I will. It's 4:20. Huhames will be live in 25 minutes. A little under a half hour. Our boy Huhames will be live. Is there anybody else that's live right now? Oh, Hartman is going live in 10 minutes. So, for the sake of... just because it starts first, I'll send you both of them. Head over to Hartman's stream and then watch both at the same time. You can also head over to Huhame's stream in a half hour. Dropped both links right there. There we go. Yeah, Hartman. This one, the first one is for Hartman. The first one is for Hartman. He's live in 10 minutes. Knows his shit. Drafted with us earlier today. Highly recommend you check out Hartman. At the link right there. But, what am I looking for? This. Here we go. Here we go. Yeah. It's a good trade either way with people being torn on it. I'm in a lot of Dynasty leagues. If you believe in Carnell Tate that much, then go for it. But the money in the bank with Amon-Ra is probably worth holding on to. I don't think Jeremiah Love is set to explode that much more than Scatabo. In the short term, I would hold, but that's just me. Yeah. Good omen to have him, but Huhaim says Mooney going to crush. Maybe next time we take a giant receiver, it's going to be Mooney. I've mostly taken Fields and Slayton lately on stream. I used to take Mooney more, but it's been a minute now that I think about it. We'll see, but love being able to tolerate Sharps. Yeah, if you can get a team where Sharps isn't like killing it, you're actually kind of in great shape actually. But Josh Carlin, first time here, just pop up for me for some reason. Love the takes, even if I'm off Ricky this year. Def will be back. Appreciate that, Josh. Thank you for subscribing today. Welcome in to the audience. Second coming of Antonio Brown, right? Yeah, got to reach on something, right? You're welcome, Zero. Yeah, Danimal's receiving core. You usually always have one position that's just like a little bit risky. I respect it though. If you hit, everything else is so good. It's worth it. Do you only rate members team? We did yours, Yuzi. We did yours. On occasion, I throw out a few for non-members, but in general, it's mostly for members. But you were trying to get in from the start today. I believe also yesterday, so I got no problem doing them on occasion. But for the most part, they're only for members. Got to get different in these streets, that's for sure. People are sleeping on Jacoby Myers. At 117, it's a great pick. At 117, I would have taken it too, but I passed for... Who did I pass for? I passed twice. I took... Oh, yeah, I took Dobbins and Gainwell instead. If Ayuk was an auto, that's even worse, having ranked way too high. Yeah, very odd choice there, but Hartman for Underdog, who for DK. Is who doing DK today? Oh, yeah, Who Hames is doing DraftKings. Yes, indeed, but you're welcome, Hartman. No worries. GG's, A-Rod. Yeah, pick your contest. Gotcha, Who Hames. Josh says Love has a lot more value in Dynasty. Just went in the first in a 250 startup. Yeah, that's where I don't like Dynasty. Like, really, I have to take the Arizona Cardinals RB1 in the first round. Like, I get it's a Dynasty startup, but like, that's not fun. At the moment, we are not drafting again. So Head over to Hartman's channel, Hartman FF. We dropped it in the chat. The first one is for Hartman, and the second one is for our boy Huhames. Both friends of the channel. We also got Young Moolah, who was in our lobby today. He was in, I believe, both overflows possibly. And there may have been someone else watching, but I'm not totally sure. Apologies if I forgot. But all right, that's going to be it for me today. I will see you guys tomorrow, probably late night, probably around like 8:30 p.m. Pacific or later. We will be back live again. But today, that's going to be it. And that's it. All right. Goodbye. Peace.